So usually we do the garden party live on Thursday evening, but this is a super special live stream we're doing on Facebook tonight because it's almost spring, fellas. It's almost spring, and this is the garden party. Me, 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 me. This is the garden party, and we want a garden party with you. We talk about the plants we grow and some things you might not know. The garden party. Phil, introduce yourself, bro.
What up, everyone? It's Phil from Phil's Figs, the Fig Daddy, your favorite plant parent, as well as regular parent, back on the podcast at the Kickoff. What up?
Mr. Phil, thank you so much for introducing yourself. I am Texas Garden Guy, and next we got Mr. Keegan. Go ahead and introduce yourself, brother.
I am Keegan from Keegan's Garden, coming out of Zone 7 in Maryland. And thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. You're the furthest north. I got to get some northern people on my podcast
You do.
from time to time. I got Maryland and I got Ohio with Dirty Punk Gardening. What's going on, Jeremy?
Not much. I'm Jeremy from Dirty Punk Gardening. I'm in Zone 6B, Ohio.
Oh, you're colder than Keegan. Nice. Well, you're a different zone, but I know what you mean. Mr. Vikram, what's going on, dude?
Not much. It is not cold here. It was like 75 today, and the wind's blowing about 40 miles per hour. So a standard Lubbock spring day.
Oh my goodness.
Standard issue.
I don't know how your greenhouses stay alive in Lubbock, dude.
Oh, I tell you what, being in one of those greenhouses on a windy day when the whole thing starts like creaking, like that's an experience.
Yeah, I was at the Texas Plant Clinic at A&M, and they have greenhouses on top of the fourth floor on the roof, and I was like, "How does this work?" But anyway, first time guest we got our very special mystery secret top secret guest is Mr. Tyler Froberg from Farmer Froberg. What's going on, dude?
How's it going, guys? I'm so glad to be here. As Destin said, I'm Tyler, also known as Farmer Froberg. We grow strawberries and stuff.
You've been hog wrangling and chicken wrangling all day.
Oh, we picked strawberries all day today. Today was our first day of our strawberry festival here in Alvin, Texas.
Oh, that's
We
right.
we picked thousands of pounds of strawberries today. So it's been a long, busy day for us, but I'm excited to talk some plant nerd stuff here with y'all today.
Absolutely. Well, it's a good way to start the conversation. We're going to talk about veggie plants and all that stuff. We had Kimberly Mayer, my county ag extension agent yesterday, and she was talking, or not yesterday, a week ago, and she was talking about doing some strawberry trials. And we were talking about whether or not strawberries are an annual or a perennial. So for y'all here in this area, are they perennials or annuals?
Yeah, so first off, she's our ag extension agent.
That's true.
Because Texas Garden Guy and I are neighbors.
Yeah.
So for us, we treat strawberries as annuals here, not because of our winters. They actually thrive through our winters. We plant here on the Gulf Coast of Texas, Zone 9, something one another, depending on what map you look at. We plant in October. And so they thrive through our winters. As soon as it hits 99 degrees plus on the daily and doesn't drop below 85 at night, they get smoked. That's not to say that you can't carry them through. You could treat them as a perennial here. I just don't think that they thrive as well in that state. Versus north of us, they thrive beautifully as perennials. But I consider them an annual here where we are.
Well, especially if you're like trying to conserve as much space, like y'all would have to have like a couple, like, dozens of acres just dedicated to letting those strawberries sit there and do nothing for like 9 months out of the year.
Correct. And not to bore you with history, but my great grandfather was actually a strawberry nursery here in Alvin, and did that. But they would do what was called carpet or straw bedding, but they did it in the summer. And so they would let those strawberry plants just carpet out with runners, and then they would bury them in straw for the summer to keep them cool under there. And then as soon as it started to cool off in like September, they would start coming up and they'd start harvesting the plants to sell to all the other strawberry farmers here. But they treated them like a perennial then. They just don't thrive that way here.
Right. Yeah. I've always done strawberries in like hanging baskets. Usually like right now is a good time to get strawberries, and then within a month or two, it's going to be in triple digits, and the strawberries are going to be too hot. And so I moved my strawberries in the hanging baskets to like really shady spots. in my
Yeah.
and I'm able to still get strawberries through like almost May.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't mean to hog the conversation, guys. Please
Oh, you're
stop
good.
me at any time. But I love growing strawberries. This is a problem here in our zones, right? Is finding the strawberry plants at the right time. So I recommend anybody listening, if you're in one of these southern zones where you should be planting in October or November, find a farm like ours or a nursery who has a supply and order your plugs or your bare root plants from them so you get them at the right time.
And y'all are also buying them in bulk, so they probably get them cheaper too.
Correct. And most farms like ours, and we're not certainly not the only one in this area, right? But we do supply a lot of the other farms in our area, but just talk to them and be like, hey, with the day your plants come in, can I come buy 50 plugs from you or can I come buy 50 bare root plants from you? Most people are cool with that, guys. That nobody sees like 50 plants as a threat. And if you're like us, like the more growing the better,
Yeah.
because the more people we get eating fresh produce leads to the more people eating fresh produce. Like what's good for the goose is good for the gander, you know?
Right. Absolutely. Keegan, I had sent you a video of a guy. I think it was y'all know that weird guy that works at that Baker Creek guy.
Yeah,
That
we're good.
the
The wizard.
I call him the Baker Creek Hobo. The Baker Creek
Yeah,
Hobo.
he does look homeless.
I had sent you a video of him growing purple Brussels sprouts.
Yeah.
And you're in Maryland, so you're probably growing still your leafy greens and stuff like that right now, right?
Yeah, I have Brussels sprouts right now. No purple ones, but I do have Brussels sprouts right now, arugula, spinach, lettuce, some of the Asian greens, but they're going to bolt a little bit, just because of the inconsistency in temperatures. But a lot of leafy things.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to start the season on the solstice.
Oh, really? So is that when you start? That's when you start your seeds.
That's when I start my season, yeah.
Wow.
I have seeds in the basement right now, but I start my season on the solstice.
Well, speaking of the basement, it looks like Silence of the Lambs behind Jeremy right now. He's got his seed starting set up behind him right there. What all you got started so far, Jeremy?
This is my early stuff. This is just my first round. Here I got some tomatoes, my first round of tomatoes and peppers, and I got a bunch of petunias and some loofah.
Oh, nice.
So I'll do. This is just my early. The vast majority of my stuff will be started mid-March.
Nice. And you were giving out loofah seeds, weren't you?
Yeah, I was selling packs of loofah seeds. I probably sold 120 packs of loofah seeds.
Oh my
I would put them
God.
on in batches, and they would be gone in 30 minutes.
Wow.
I have heard
Wow.
I have heard more people wanting to grow loofah than probably any other like vegetable. Like that's like the new cool thing to grow.
But yeah, I was growing them, and everybody was asking me about seeds, and I'm like, I had no intention on trying to sell seeds. So I wasn't even really selling them. Basically, I was just like, send me $5, and that covers my costs. Essentially, you send them all over the country. But yeah, I placed a bunch of them, gone in 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's one of those things like okra seeds. Once you have okra, you never really have to buy okra seeds again. Like with loofah, loofah seeds are so easy to harvest. It's insane.
You just shake them out.
Yeah.
Loofah was my big thing on social media last year. That's probably a lot of people. I had a video on TikTok that got like 25 million views.
Yeah, Froberg had an ASMR one where he was peeling it, and it did really well. It was like that. I don't know what that ASMR thing is. I don't have it, but people like the crackling of.
That was years ago. That's crazy.
That was one of the reasons a lot of people it just hit so many niches with that video, and then there was just like the whole group of people whose mind was blown that a loofah came from a plant.
Oh yeah. I mean, honestly,
For
if you'd asked me like 10 years ago, I'd have thought it came out of the ocean.
That's what most people say.
Like from sponges, right?
Correct.
Yeah, like an ocean sponge.
Over where I live.
Froberg, are you doing a humble plug for your veggie starts right now?
Yeah, look at this.
Well, like I was kind of jealous. I was just kind of jealous of everyone else's background. So I'm recording in our farm store, and we of course started our plant sale, and I was like, I'm just gonna go sit right there. I was thinking about doing it from the greenhouse, but it's already dark outside. You're not gonna be able to see anything. But our greenhouse
So
is full. We're proud right now.
So
Mhm.
if you have a greenhouse and you're not recording content inside of it, it's one of the best places to do it because of the soft lighting. It's amazing,
So
but
good.
it's just this is like the windiest time of the year, so you're trying to shoot footage and it's just whipping like crazy, and so you have to do like 10 takes every time you do a video. It's so funny, but yes, no, I'm glad you're not in the greenhouse because it's a little windy outside.
And if
Yes.
it's raining, I would say with my greenhouse, I went live in my greenhouse. And with the polycarbonate paneling, I was just like, I had to go on a microphone, otherwise no one could hear me.
I did a couple of videos during a hailstorm in our greenhouse. And just and I didn't even say anything. I just like set up the camera and I was like, it's the apocalypse. Just, hang
I
out
was gonna
with me,
say,
whatever.
we're
Are
not
you
under
all
siege.
finding it
It's just
still
hail.
have greenhouses?
Just at work.
Yeah, I have a
Does everybody
greenhouse.
here have a greenhouse?
Yeah.
Oh
Jamie,
yeah.
do you have a greenhouse?
Yeah, I do have a greenhouse. I actually built one last year. I got to finish it up this year.
I need to get a greenhouse,
Ke-
man.
Keegan, I don't have my own greenhouse. I work. Like I have a work greenhouse.
Close enough. Close enough.
Well, there's different people have different people have greenhouses for different reasons. So some
Hmm.
people have greenhouses to get like early jumps on their seed starts, but like for people like me and Phil, like for we use it for propagations, but a lot of times it's just to keep plants alive until spring. Like that,
Yeah.
that's mostly what mine's alive. Mine's for. It's hoarding all my plants, and I added to that today. Uh, but
What
I'm
did you
more.
get?
Oh, dude, I did a
What did you
plant.
do?
I did a garden talk with my buddy Jay White from Texas Garden Magazine today, and they like the nursery is usually like, how much do you want? I'm like, well, I'm gonna be plant shopping, so I'll just do like a gift card. And so they handed me a gift card, and I was like, ooh, it's gonna be shopping spree time. And so they had desert roses and all kinds of good native stuff, and so I'm really trying to move into native stuff and maybe be a better off for the pollinators in my area. Trying to do a little more native stuff. That and the native people came after me on TikTok and Instagram.
Oh, you'll get that. You'll get that for sure.
Dude, the native people, I can't even post a video with a Vitex in it anymore. I refuse to do it. There's a plant called a Vitex, and it does just fine here in the Gulf Coast. But in Texas is so big, it'd be like me living in Pennsylvania, and then like, Austin is like upstate New York. It's like different plants are different everywhere. So like in Austin, this plant has become kind of a noxious weed. So every time I post a video, it's Texas Garden Guy, and someone in Austin's like, "Quit planting invasive plants, you moron! Why are you telling people to buy?" It's just insane, dude. So
Destin, I
I
said
just,
I was sorry. I
dude,
apologize for that already.
you're one of them, Vikram. You're one of them.
Hey, speaking, not to change the subject, but speaking
No,
about
good.
how large Texas is, Vic, are y'all safe from these fires?
Oh
Yeah, I
yeah.
heard about
Yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah. So we're probably that's in the northern panhandle, like Amarillo North, and
Okay.
we're probably 2-3 hours from there. Where it's northern panhandle. But yeah, I think last I checked, and it was earlier today, 1.2 million acres had burned
That is
already,
rough.
and we're like less than 20% contained. Like it's bad
Terrible.
news, y'all. And we've had a lot of wind pop up, some storm cool front blew in and out. And so it's even windier actually up there than it is here. They're farther up in the plains. And so it's been blowing 30-40 miles per hour. And
Oh my gosh.
it's bad news. It's a bad deal. Because there's that's a lot of ranch land, pasture
Oh yeah.
land. And so on the backside of this, like after, I mean, yeah, there have been lives lost and lots of livestock and land and homes. I mean, it's a big deal. But even on the backside, they've got a lot of head of cattle up there to maintain, and with all this pasture land gone, it's going to be a rough year in the Panhandle. But no,
Oh, wow.
we're safe where we are.
That's good.
We can smell the smoke for sure, and our air quality is not great right now, but we're safe from the fire itself.
I'm not laughing about the wildfire.
The air quality, it's
No,
usually dust.
I'm sorry. I'm not laughing about the wildfire. Jeremy's twin just says, "Can we further discuss the Baker Creek Hobo?"
Okay, so
So
I'm
what?
not. I don't want to catch any heat about this, but like, I'm so glad I was not the only one because
But
I gotta scroll, guys. Like, I gotta scroll past it. I can't do it. I can't
Yeah.
do it.
my wife, when she saw there was going to be a secret special guest, I told her that it was going to be Baker Creek Hobo.
Oh my, dude,
Those
I
are
don't,
goals,
I don't,
Dustin.
dude, I don't, I don't, I don't,
I'm sorry to disappoint.
I really don't want to trash the guy. I don't know anything about him.
Yeah,
I'm
me
looking
But
neither.
for
Me
every
I
neither.
would
chicken
love to
flavor.
get him on the podcast sometime and just like I laugh because like people get canceled nowadays for like cultural appropriation, and I see like some of like the outfits he's wearing, and I was like, this dude is international. Like he wears some stuff now, man. He wears some items, you know.
He
So
got
like,
famous and he changed his wardrobe up. That's what
yeah,
happened.
dude, like
Oh,
His vegetable reviews are so like uncomfortably intimate.
well, it's just like yeah, like every time I see you on the videos, I get that. What's that? I wear your granddad's clothes. I look incredible. I get that song stuck in my head because it looks like he went. Like you ever go like to your grandpa's closet and try on like one of his old suits or whatever. Like
Yeah.
that's what it feels like to me every time I see him. It's very entertaining. It's super bizarre, and it's obviously good marketing.
Oh, it's
You know,
working for him. You look in the comments, people love it.
yeah.
yeah. I mean, Baker Creek has had some negative press in the past, so
Oh, and well,
so
recently with
yeah.
their tomatoes.
Oh, really? I haven't
What
heard
Their
happened?
this.
their purple
Spill the
Oh,
tea.
you
galaxies.
haven't heard
Yeah.
about this?
Oh no, spill the
Okay.
tea.
No.
The
So
purple GMO tomato.
yeah, so they had
What?
their catalog this year comes out, and it's got these suspiciously purple tomatoes on the cover, and they're like non-GMO, whatever. And these are their purple galaxies. They'll be for sale this year. Well, everybody's heard the story about Norfolk that did the GMO purple tomatoes that they released to home gardeners. Well, Norfolk saw them and was like, "Hey, that might be our tomato." So Baker Creek had to
What?
pull them. They were about to put GMO tomatoes on the market. Old,
Without telling anyone.
heirloom, anti-GMO Baker Creek was going to sell everybody some GMO tomatoes.
Oh
Oh,
man.
really? So
That sucks.
we got Vikram on here, and he's a scientist of
That's
some
fake.
sort.
Of
So
some
like,
sort? No, that's on my resume. Scientist of some sort.
yeah, he
Well,
knows he knows a few things. I wanted to
Vic,
ask you about what's it, like the difference between GMO. Like what is the big deal about GMO? Like why would people not want a GMO tomato?
Tyler, do you have a question too?
well, I was just going to clarify. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they use butterfly pea DNA on that, right?
It's from
In that
No, it
Snapdragon.
purple
was Snapdragons.
Yeah.
Snapdragon. That's what
Shut
it was.
up.
Snapdragon DNA. Yeah.
Wow, that's some Jurassic Park stuff.
I was gonna say, yeah,
Yeah.
frog DNA, fill in the gaps.
Yeah. So that the whole deal is they were trying to get more anthocyanins in that tomato. That purple tomato is like high in antioxidants.
You can't use big words like anthocyanins and not explain what you mean.
I
Okay.
appreciate it.
We've been
Okay.
through this, Vikram.
Sorry. Okay, let me take a step back to answer
Yes.
your first question. Sorry.
We've been
GMOs.
over this.
Okay. A lot of it is, in my opinion, semantics, right? It's how do we define things? Because like breeding work has been going on for 15, 20,000 years. Like we've been
Correct.
breeding plants for a long time, right? We still do it. We
Mhm.
hybridize naturally. We hybridize, open pollinate. Plants hybridize themselves, right? GMOs is when we take a gene from one species and put it in another species. We call it a transgenic crop. So that's like taking BT, which is like that bacteria that kills caterpillars, and putting it in our corn to protect them from corn earworm or
Bacillus thuringiensis.
That thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
that one.
We say BT.
Yeah, BT. Bacillus thuringiensis. And we put it in corn, we put it in cotton to get rid of boll weevils, get rid of earworms, those kinds of things. Really effective, safe for humans, as far as we know, but people, I think it's poorly understood and it's not well explained sometimes what the process is. And the fact is we haven't been doing it in the grand scheme of things for that long. Our earliest GMOs, the research probably started 50 years ago, 60 years ago. But in terms of like human history and how long we've been doing like health research and medical, like we don't know what we don't know, right?
Correct.
And I think that's what a lot of people sort of, or some people, let me say it differently. That's what some people I think get kind of scared of, is it's not well understood. And the things we don't understand end up being scary. Also, on the other side of it, the anti-GMO folks, it is like great marketing. It is a good way to sell some stuff by labeling things anti-GMO and using fear-based marketing and things like that. So some of it, I think, is just that it's relatively new science and people, like, we're still figuring it out. And the other thing is that, like, you can make a lot of money marketing against things, right?
Yeah.
So there's kind of two sides of that coin, in my opinion. I think it has solved a lot of problems in different parts of the world. We have like golden rice with vitamin A in it that is keeping children in developing countries from going blind because of vitamin A deficiencies. We have more drought tolerant crops. We've been able to reduce pesticide applications. Like, there's a lot of things that are net benefits from it. But, you know, I also don't really begrudge people who have some hesitancy about it, because we're all kind of learning this together, right? Like, I think
Yeah.
that we're all working through the science together. But for these tomatoes, they used genes from snapdragons that produce more anthocyanins, which, if you look at a plant and it's like blue or purple, that's a pigment called anthocyanin. It's high in it's what makes like pomegranate
CYAN.
juice. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So like pomegranate juice, blueberries, like those are that's the antioxidant in those fruits that make them healthy. And so in an effort to get more of that into the tomato, they use this gene. And it's not the first GMO tomato. It's the first that has been marketed to the homeowner or to the consumer grade. There was a flavor saver tomato, I think back in the 90s, that just never went anywhere, because when they said flavor, it wasn't a good flavor they were savoring. It was like they saved it,
Oh, no.
but it sucked, and then people didn't like it. So like, no, let that one go. Like, just let the flavor go. We'll try again. So again, in some ways, it's a big advancement, because when we talk about food density or like nutrient density in our foods, like, we want to like every bite of vegetable fruit that somebody eats to be as nutritious as possible and to taste as good as possible, so they eat more of it. Right now it costs about $2 a seed to get this tomato. We have
$20 a pack.
of 10 seeds, I think. We've got some
Wow.
started in the greenhouse. We're going to do a little bit of research on it. I think 30-40 plants, something like that. But I think it's interesting. I'm kind of excited to see where it goes and see what happens.
Yeah.
So my concern, like, there's a place for GMOs. I feel personally, but I don't think the home garden is the place for them.
That's fair.
I just think there's so much that could go wrong here with, I mean, you got a pack of seeds that's got a whole list of terms and conditions on it. So
Really?
you're opening yourself up to legal issues, possibly, if you're somebody who sells produce or sells plants or anything like that. These seeds are open pollinated. It's not a GMO that, you know, you can save these seeds, you can grow them again. Like, this isn't like, you know, some GMOs, like the seeds are sterile. That's not these. So you have the issue with these could cross-pollinate with other tomatoes in your garden. So if that happens and you got a hybrid with these purple tomatoes, that plant belongs to Norfolk.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
You can't sell those plants. You can't sell the tomatoes from those plants. So even if you're not even aware that this is cross-pollinated, I just feel like a few years from now, we're going to see a lot of suspiciously purple tomatoes popping up for sale. And they're going to be selling those as non-GMO hybrids. And I just don't know where this goes with all the legal issues, because a company like Norfolk is going to go after you if you're selling.
Well, it sounds like the Monsanto issues sometimes with the farmers in the field.
I just feel like there are too many problems that could come from this. And if you're getting more and more GMO seeds to home gardeners, more and more things are going to be cross-pollinated. And then this company is going to own all of these plants that come from these seeds.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It seems like something that could be an issue to me.
Well, and and as a backyard gardener, like this is probably the first year, and I've really learned a lot doing this podcast, like talking to people like Jeremy, Vikram, Phil, Keegan, the ag extension agents, paying more attention to like heirloom versus GMO, and like I never hardly paid any attention to determinate versus indeterminate. I just threw a seed in the thing, let it grow, and honestly, whether they were determined or not, eventually they put out some more tomatoes. But like, I mean, paying more attention, is and being more efficient with what you're growing is can play a big factor in like how much you're getting back from all the effort you put in.
Yeah.
And so I think heirloom is the way to go when it comes to tomatoes. Honestly,
Yeah, I mean, if you're somebody that just grows few tomatoes, you don't save seeds, you don't do anything else. You want to grow these, it's like a novelty or whatever. Fine. But I mean, if you're somebody who's like a serious gardener and does save seeds and stuff like that, I would certainly. I mean, personally, I would avoid it.
yeah. In the
I think
comments,
it kind of.
go Tyler, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I think from a farming standpoint, I think it kind of brings up a philosophical point of what was the purpose of a genetically modified crop. And like Vic brought up, these like reducing our pesticide uses, solving nutritional deficiencies in third world countries where they don't have access to really high quality food. And so that brings up the point for me, like, what is the point of it being available to home gardeners, right? Like, if we're trying to solve really big world problems by genetically modifying crops, then I really don't see the point in it being available to home gardeners.
Or there needs to be some kind of law where like Musk, like he opened up like all of his patents, like for the test, like all the battery operated, like all the patents and everything are available for everybody. Like you shouldn't be able to own a seed, But I guess if that was the case, they wouldn't go spend all the money and time advancing seeds. They wouldn't do it. We'd still be eating little tiny things of corn, and all kinds of
Well,
It's,
outside of the philosophical point that Tyler brought up, like you're making those changes to better society, and then so rather than monopolizing it in some sort of like economic advantage to a general consumer out of pure interest. But
yeah. If it's gonna be a tomato that's gonna solve world hunger, then you can't patent it. Like you can't. Maybe that's what it needs to be.
I think just to chime in a little bit about that.
Yeah, Keegan, go ahead.
I think I see Vikram's point. I see Jeremy's point too, where I see both sides of it. We're all just talking before we started about how warm our winters have become, and GMOs, like, they've designed foods that grow better in warm temperatures because you plant something now and it goes to bolt right away because it's not used to the warming world. So I think it's a mixed bag for even the backyard gardener. Like, you might need to start growing GMO crops that are more heat tolerant because our world is warming. So I think it's a mixed bag. It's just not. I think people just hear GMO and it's like, oh, it's bad, but
Yeah.
it's good in some regards. So I think it just
And I'm
depends.
sure Vic can speak to this as well, but I think it should be noted too for anybody listening that before a GMO is approved by the USDA, there is lots of testing to show that this attribute that they're genetically modifying can't be done through hybridization. And so, like, there is oftentimes where genetic modification is not approved for the industry because the USDA says, no, we have this hybrid, it works. And as of right now, it works just as good as that genetic modification. So we're not going to approve that. And if you want to add, edit, or change or to that, please do.
Yeah, no, that's a good point that these do go through rigorous testing, which again does not discount, I think, some of the points Jeremy made about the legal side of it as well. That's sort of a separate issue in my mind, and it's a big issue. Like, it's potentially a big issue for sure. But no, I think in terms of like releasing the genetics before these things hit the market, like there's a reason there's only now 9 or 10 GM crops on the market in North America, in the US, because one, it's really expensive for these companies to get from, like, I'll be honest, like, it's not that hard to make the GM crop. Like, we have labs on campus that can do that. We have gene guns. We have all this stuff. Like, the technology is there. It's the years of testing, it's the licensing, it's the sort of after the fact science that goes into it, that and the checking for other options, right? Because again, it is a complex issue, and I think that I just to make the point, like I actually kind of appreciate that we as a group sort of disagree on these points a little bit, because these are like important conversations in this space. And I think, if you get online and you see like GMOs listed anywhere, like it's shouting matches in the comments, and it gets like so angry so fast, like in a hurry. Just bring up watermelons and how they explode on people's counters. Like I made that mistake. I said the words climate change on a TikTok, and that was a bad week for me.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I talked about GMOs, climate change, and I think I even said the words Bill Gates in the same TikTok, because I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. And
he's buying up all the farmland.
so I just want to say,
man,
like I like the different perspectives on this. I think these conversations, and for people to hear these conversations, is super important, because we're trying to work it out as a society, what we want to do and how these things are going to go forward. I like that.
Yeah, and that's why I love doing like podcasts like this, because like we have people from such different backgrounds, different locations, and we can actually have a polite, honest discussion about issues and not be like choking each other. The comment
because
sections,
we physically can't.
Yeah, no, we're in different rooms.
But like the comment section on our videos are like so toxic and so hateful sometimes. It's nice to be able to like sit face to face and talk to people and not be like wanting to kill someone. It's so nuts. It's crazy nowadays.
I wanted to bring up a point about, I believe it was Mr. Keegan who was talking about like GMOs and how they could relate to global warming. I got to say that I'm pretty so like where we're at, we're growing like southern varieties that are fairly heat tolerant. So I'm curious to see how that will play out with hybrids first. Like I don't feel like genetic modification for heat tolerance would be the first route. Like I feel like what will probably, like, our varieties will become your varieties.
Probably, yeah.
And then
just kind of
our varieties are going to become like Central America's varieties. We're going to be growing jicama and pineapple and all.
You're already growing jicama. You're already growing jicama, aren't you?
I love growing jicama, y'all. I freaking love it. But it can like, you can grow it. You could grow it most years here, but like it would just become like a staple here. Pineapple would become a staple here, right? Like I feel like everything would just kind of like shift up.
Yeah, I'm ready for papaya farms and all kinds. I'm ready for it, dude.
Oh, there's another GMO
coffee.
Yeah. Coffee grown in Texas. Yep, absolutely, man.
All that being said, I'm definitely buying the glow in the dark petunia. Like I just like I can't.
It's like
I can't not.
Is that
really a thing?
Oh yeah,
to make it work.
No. So it is fully bioluminescent. It is not
bioluminescent.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's they had made some a few years ago, and I talk about it in my book a little bit. That they'd made like watercress and a few other things, researchers that would glow for like an hour, maybe real dim. Now they have taken. I appreciated this. He's like a billboard. I know. I thought about just letting him hold it for a while longer before I said anything.
Anybody comes on the show, I automatically buy their book.
But no, they took there's a bioluminescent mushroom that has a gene that produces an enzyme called luciferin, and they have put it into petunias, and the leaves will bioluminesce all night. Like
that is too cool.
It's like, yeah, it's a gimmick, but it's such a cool gimmick.
That's so
I'm definitely
cool.
Getting some.
Like imagine if you could grow a flower bed where it would like light up your sidewalk. Like
all that. How great would that be on like Halloween when people are trick or treating and the flowers are glowing?
My God.
That's one of
Okay, so here's
go ahead.
We talked about GMs having a purpose. So I'm really trying to give this one a purpose. So we can go back. we could go back to dirt runways on airports and use those down the lanes for the airplanes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We're not going to
No,
confuse migratory birds and insects anymore at night. Like,
I actually had this redneck friend who every Halloween he would put out his pumpkins and he'd move his jack-o'-lanterns into the flower beds and he'd leave them there and he just let them rot. And then every spring he would have pumpkins coming up. And I always thought it was the funniest thing. Like I was like, that's a cool way to do your flower bed. Just let your pumpkins rot and then the seeds. I can't believe it worked, but it did.
Are you talking about my
Dang.
brother-in-law, Destin?
No, I'm not talking about your brother. Maybe your brother. Maybe your brother.
I am trying that this spring. I let my pumpkins rot, and I'm going to see if I get a pumpkin patch.
Well, do you ever have anything grow out of your compost pile, Keegan?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Oh yeah.
Well, you know what would help if you put a banana in there, right, Vikram? And then it would definitely grow.
Crack some eggs. Maybe
And crack
push your
an egg
feet
on
in there some for a while. Like, just go all out on it.
Dude, the new one is toothpaste.
I know.
They're putting toothpaste on like rose clippings, and that's a good.
Oh,
I don't know what to believe anymore because
Talking about 5-minute crafts.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm literally getting a comment once a day now about electroculture and what Kevin and I'm a little discouraged now because Dr. Kevin Ong was telling us that there is some logic to it, and I was like, no, Kevin, come on.
Just being nice, like.
Yes. Well, it's like
no logic to wrapping a stick with a copper wire and shoving it in your garden. There's no logic.
Whenever you talk to these academics, they never want to say 100% no, that won't work.
Yeah, they beat that out of us.
Yes, they never want to say 100% that's stupid, it'll never work, because in 50 years from now, they don't want to be proven wrong. So that's what it is. You can't even do that
in a dissertation or a thesis defense. You have to be like, this is what I think, and then everyone still challenges it.
Like somebody saw my tomato trellis video and they're like, man, you get 10 times the yield if you use electroculture. And I just was like, dude, I can't even waste my finger strength replying to this. And it's just
okay.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
Can I ask a roundtable question to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. So from everybody, I want to know, what is your cheesy hack that everyone swears does not work, but that you swear by it? That you're like, no, I do this because I believe it works, but everyone else tells you like, no, dude, this is not it.
Go ahead, Phil. What is yours?
Okay. This is I can't believe I'm telling you. Only 3 people know this.
I use mayonnaise. I use mayonnaise when I propagate my figs.
Oh no, it's worse.
Listen to it.
So there's this book that came out about water absorbing like memories and thoughts and things like that. It's not frozen. Okay, I know I have kids, and it's about like saying like nice words to your things, like your water, and it crystallizes. And so I wrote love and gratitude on all of my propagation bins, and I wrote.
I wonder what that came from.
And it comes from, there's a doctor. Oh my gosh, I have to look it up. I'll look it up in a few minutes, but just because I was like, okay, I can't lose. And I think it's helping. Where I write love and gratitude on all my propagation bins. And then, I can't believe I'm saying this on Facebook Live. Anyway, and then.
You got to make clips of this, Destin. Like, this has to be
this will be 100%.
If I write like a variety of fig, like I'm like, Constantine de Algeria or Black Madeira, I'll write like love on there and I'll show it. Maybe the roots will get to it. Maybe they'll see the love and they'll root for me more. And I've always done that for like years now, so too late. I told the internet.
I believe in the power of positive thoughts. I mean, like, that you're not hurting anything by what you're doing. You're wasting time. 100%.
I'm just self-actualizing. Now, on a huge, maybe when I scale, I can't keep up with it. Maybe I'll, have to forego and just plant bananas with everything. But until then, I'm throwing those in there.
Well, Keegan, you're from Trinidad originally, right?
Yeah,
Are there any things that y'all do that maybe doesn't necessarily work that you use? Like it's just like maybe like a conspiracy thing?
Not that plant related.
Yeah,
Nothing plant related, but no, I can't think about anything that I do that I think it's that odd. I mean, there's things I do that waste time, like hand water my garden.
yeah.
Like, but
That's not wasting time. That's good time.
I mean, it takes hours. It's a waste
Right.
of time.
No,
No, I don't think I have anything odd. I mean,
no.
or different. I don't think so.
I got a lot of questions today about like eggshells. We were at a garden talk, so eggshells under the tomatoes. I had an old lady who likes to put coffee creamer or powdered milk under her tomatoes when she plants them. One thing that I used to do, and I guess it doesn't hurt, I'll throw my tomato or not my orange peels out in the garden, and the de-limonene in like the orange oil or the orange peels is supposed to like repel oranges. It doesn't hurt anything. Usually the birds pick them up and run off with them, but it's not hurting anything, So that's one thing I probably do.
All right. His name is Dr. Masaro Emoto.
Oh, he sounds like he's not a real doctor, dude.
And he's Japanese. Water crystal experimentation.
I'm writing that down.
I know it's working because I know it's believing with this. But
That's
look it up.
That's gonna go on the shelf of books that I haven't read behind me. What about you, Jeremy?
No, I mean, I think when we all start gardening, we all kind of fall for that stuff that we just heard our whole lives, like the eggshells and the tums for blossom end rot. Even like the banana, people putting bananas in water and putting it on, thinking that it's a fertilizer. I mean, it's not. Like, so as I got more into gardening, I would, before I tried something that somebody was like, oh, we've been doing this for years, it works. I'd always look at it and I'm like, there's no evidence to back up any of this stuff. So that's why I've kind of debunked all of that stuff at this point, to where like I don't do any of that stuff anymore. But there was nothing that I could ever just like say, oh, I don't care, it works for me, and we'll keep doing it. So no, I don't think so.
I can say for a fact that I will never practice horticulture or electroculture unless it's a parody video. I have been thinking about doing a parody video because I do electrical work for a living.
Oh, don't do it,
yeah.
man! Don't do it. You don't want the heat that's gonna come with it.
So I thought about running
Justin,
a cord out to my.
You got a cornfield. You want to make popcorn. Here's an electric fence. Copper things. Plug it in. Boom. It's gonna rain popcorn.
I'm a kettle corn farmer.
You gotta do it.
Froberg, what is your weird one? Since you spend all day in the field, what is your thing?
I don't know if I have I don't know. You know me, Dustin. Like I feel like because we do this for a living, like everything we do is very systematic. But one thing that I get a comment a lot is like anytime anyone tells me that they had really poor germination in the field or in the ground from direct seeding, and they said they water and all this, I asked them, did you roll your soil or did you pack it? Well, I usually ask first, like, what soil texture are you? And if it's real sandy, did you roll your soil? So like we're constantly rolling, right? So like we're planting purple hull peas or sunflowers or what have you. We're going to plant and then we're going to roll the bed to increase your seed to soil contact, right? And you're actually capturing a lot of that moisture in there by like hardening that crust. Well, a lot of people come back with
Tyler.
compact.
Hey, whenever you say rolling, what do you mean exactly? What do you mean when you say rolling the rows?
I'm literally talking about a giant roller that goes on the back of a tractor and it's compacting the bed, right? It's like flattening the bed. Yeah.
Okay.
And so now, mind you, if you're in like black gumbo clay soil, this is not a technique that you should be using. I agree with that. But if you're an extremely well drained, exactly, like here on our farm, we're sandy loam. It's a really good technique to capture moisture, and you are just your seed to soil contact becomes 100%, right? Because you're compressing that soil around it. And so that always seems to be one of those things that everyone's like, I can't believe you would do that. And then literally you'll go out 48 hours later with 100% germination. And I'm like, oh, well, maybe it could work. Again, it's not for everybody's soil type. You have to have the correct soil type to do it. But that's definitely one that I get comments on a lot.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, I'm going to embarrass myself here. as the resident science guy. Okay, let me preface this. Okay, I'm nervous about admitting this on camera. So my grandma, when I was growing up, we lived with my grandparent, this old like Indian woman. Like she would go and like cut flowers from the garden or like cut plants or whatever, and she would always be like she'd always say something to them, like thanks for this, or like nothing big, just kind of a you've wounded this plant, like I'm gonna take the flowers, I'm gonna take what I need, and then I'm gonna take. And then there was this study, like it 60 70 years ago, about talking to plants and saying nice things to your plants, which is it's nonsense, like it's garbage, right? But at the same time, I cannot, like, I don't say anything out loud, but every time I'm out like harvesting something, every time I'm like cutting flowers, I can mow the lawn, prune a tree, and in the back of my mind I hear my grandma's voice being like, you say sorry to that plant, young man. And maybe I'm just scared of my grandma. I don't know. But like she did, I made a video last year. She actually, like, there was someone who had gotten her phone number and was like calling her saying nasty stuff and just like all this stuff, and she like literally answered the phone one day and like put a curse on this person. She was like, if you don't stop calling me, you're going to be sick in 7 days, and God rest your soul. Like, she literally said that to this man, and he stopped calling. So I don't know if he's dead. I don't know what happened, but like, I'm a little bit scared of my grandmother. So like, even though I've made videos about like talking to your plants does nothing, maybe it makes you like them more, so you take better care of them. Like, I cannot not be like, sorry, bruh, like, I cut your arms off, whatever. Like,
But just so we're clear, everyone on this call talks to plants, right? Like, I
Yes.
didn't
Oh,
think
yeah.
that was the weird thing. I don't think that one counts. I think we all do that, Vic. I don't think.
Yeah, no, that's probably the least weird thing out of everybody. Yeah, I mean, even like I like listening to podcasts and stuff like that while I'm out there in the garden, and like I laugh a lot while I'm out there, and like I think, like,
Mhm.
laughing is good in the garden. Like laughing out loud is good. So I definitely a lot of people put radios, like little radios out there for their garden as well. I've heard that too, like radios in the greenhouse.
I've heard
I've
crazy stuff
So,
about like classical music and
Yeah.
associated with bird frequencies that also associate with like the activating the stomata of the plant. But that's another one that I don't do, but I've heard.
Phil's all about activating the stomata.
hey,
That's your
Destin, can
next
I ask
t-shirt.
another roundtable question?
Yeah, go ahead, dude. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm curious to know what is everyone's biggest growing project for 2024?
Oh,
Jeremy, I'll let you go first, dude.
Biggest project. I don't know.
Your
I
greenhouse, right? Probably finishing your
well,
greenhouse.
well, that's see, the thing is, like, every year there's like so many projects, so many new projects every year. It's like every year it gets bigger and bigger, and there's more. I'm doing more beds. I'm gonna do the greenhouse. I'm really actually got a plan to where, like, because I'm like in the middle of town. Like, I have neighbors right all around me and everything. So I'm gonna kind of work on to where, kind of basically push the limits of what I can do as far as homesteading in my area. So that's what I'm really kind of working on, that, trying to figure out a plan here, exactly what I'm going to do on that. So yeah, it's an ongoing process. So I mean, never ends. Every year, it's just project after project.
A never-ending list, and it just keeps adding to it that's kind of how mine is. Phil,
Yeah.
what do you have, dude?
I probably have a big one, a small one, right? So the big interesting one is like the big one is like I'm trying to scale so I can do more wholesale stuff. So like to the local markets here. We have one that I did last year, and it's me putting on like my hustle bootstraps and going cold calling, or just like showing up and being like, hey, I got fig trees, and like, let's talk about it. And then all of a sudden, boom, I want 20 trees, and making sure I can supply that. That's the big thing, is scaling enough to supply those wholesales for what I consider wholesale. Maybe not hundreds of trees, but like 10 to 20 plus. And then the smaller one is my research on East Coast specific fig trees, ones that can handle our humidity. And so I went invested in about 8 or 9 types of LSU varieties. I got the Floria fig from Texas, and I have a few others that I got from the Fig Hunter that are supposed to be common types. And so I really want to do like a deep dive beyond just the ones that people know that grow here in the East Coast that are like Celeste types, and really invest in the ones that will do well in humid climates, and compare now that I have trees that are more than a year old. That's the small one.
But you, Keegan?
I am just, I guess, upgrading some beds. I don't know what to call it, but I have this very clay tough soil that I plant. Not my raised beds, but everything I plant in the ground, it just always struggles a bit. So my corn, squash, tomatoes, they don't do very well. So, um, right now we just wrapped up a big project at the house, septic project. That's a long story, but
Oh God!
they had to bring in like 80 tons of stone, so they had to move 80 tons of dirt.
Oh my God!
So I have a mound of dirt in my backyard that I'm gonna basically use to build up my tomato, corn, and squash bed. So, um, they have a ton of rocks in it, so I made this matrix sifter that I'm like trying to get the big rocks out and all the weeds and stuff. But that's kind of what I'm working on right now.
I've seen those sifters where they take them and it's a big screen and you like mount it like at an angle and you toss your soil on it and the rocks fall down and the good soil goes through. Have you seen that? That might be a good idea for something like that.
Yeah, I made this kind of bootleg one with chicken wire, and
There you go.
I get poked. It's just horrible. So I might need to check that out.
I'll send you some links.
Yeah, please.
Vikram, what do you got going in the fancy Texas Tech greenhouse or your tiny peach orchard?
Yeah,
as
tiny
well?
peach orchard. I gotta plant about 200 trees in my tiny peach orchard this year, and because we're replacing a lot of our orchard this year. Trees have gone out. I gotta fix irrigation. I'm tired in advance, in anticipation. The other cool thing, well, two cool things at work. I'm teaching a new class in the fall, so I'll be teaching sustainable vegetable production. Probably have about 40 students in that, and we're looking at different methods. But I also just want to grow out some like weird varieties of stuff to show them what's out there. Like, so I'm gonna be looking into some new varieties. But the other thing, and I don't know if I've talked about this on here before, but I'm working with a couple of colleagues on what we're calling the Texas Apple Project. And we're trying to find and regraft some old lost Texas varieties of apples. There was one called Pride of Texas. It was an old yellow striped apple that was thought to have been lost. And, we found it at a couple of orchards in Oregon and Carolinas. So we've got some budwood coming this spring, and we're going to do some grafting work and try to restart some of this stock, and looking at 3 or 4 other old varieties that aren't grown in the state anymore or grown commercially in the state, and try to restart them and get them going again. So some fun projects.
That's awesome, dude.
Really cool.
How
Yeah,
do you
that's
confirm?
really cool.
How do you confirm like the genetics of that apple? Like this like.
So that's a good question. It's hard to do is the short answer. Like, if we were going to go try to release the variety, they would gene sequence it and do all that stuff. But having like records of the provenance of these apples, like where they came from, so you can see like this it was grown, in Central Texas, South Texas, and then it was taken to this farm here. And like there's a guy that spent most of he was an FBI agent, and when he retired, he spent most of his career like hunting down these old apple varieties, and he's written books about it. And
This is the guy that went
yeah.
off. It's a meme on Facebook. It's like the guy who discovered like 100 or saved like 150 like apple trees from going extinct.
Yeah. So he's traced the history of a lot of these trees, and so the guy I'm working with, who works in our honors college, is like he knew him, or he had worked with him like personally before he died, and so like kind of carrying on this work, like this is year like 4 of trying. We have been really struggling to get some of our grafts to take, but we're gonna do some outside on like outdoor trees. We're gonna do some in the greenhouse, trying a bunch of cool stuff. So that could be a really cool deal if we could find some of these old apple varieties, old tech. Because my understanding is there used to be over 100 varieties of apples grown commercially across Texas, different parts of the state, 100 years ago. And
Wow.
they were not large scale. Some of them didn't shelf well, whatever. So they sort of got phased out. But there's so much like cultural heritage in the state for some of these fruit varieties, and like we're hoping to maybe write a book about it or release a variety or something in the future. But at the very least, like if we can even just save some of these plants, like it's a cool deal.
No, that's awesome, dude. Well, so if it's an apple that's in Oregon, is it going to have the right chill hours to even do well in Texas?
Well, that's what we're not sure about.
Yeah.
Because
we've got a lot of work to do on it.
Yeah, because I know you were telling me, because not only do you need to know if you get enough chill hours for that, like the apples, the peach, the plum in your area, but you need to know if you're going to get too many chill hours, right? You got to find that sweet spot.
So what works for us is we're a zone 7B, 7A, 7B here in my area, and like coastal Oregon, coastal Washington are also like a zone 7. Like it actually, because of the ocean, it's kind of tempered. The weather's kind of tempered. So yeah, it's dry and hot here during the summer, but we think that like a lot of varieties that do well up there actually already do well here. And so we're kind of hoping that it may not be something that right now would be able to be grown across the state, but we think we could maybe restart it up in our area at least, and then work on it from there.
No, that's cool, man. That's really awesome. I guess my big project for this year is I've always found that when I get too many things going on, things fall by the wayside. So when it comes to like tomatoes, I'm not growing tomatoes for like a full household of like 4 or 5 kids, like that. Just growing for me and my wife. So what I'm focusing on this year is doing less and growing quality crops. Instead of growing 100 tomato plants, I'm going to grow like 12 tomato plants. Last year I had like 50, and I had the worst crop of tomatoes I've ever had. Part of it has to do with the weather. It didn't rain for like 3 months in Texas. It was insane. So this year I'm planning on being more efficient and doing more quality than quantity, mixing up those varieties, focusing on like, hey, if I got determinate varieties here, I got another batch to throw in here, succession planning, and then growing some more stuff. And then not only that, really getting into some Texas natives. We're starting to grow some Texas natives. And honestly, I'm having a lot of fun doing these talks. I'm getting a lot more opportunities to go speak to like master gardener groups and go to these garden clubs and go to nurseries and talk to people, and making time for that and still having time for my family and stuff as well.
Did we lose Tyler?
I think we lost Tyler.
I was just going to ask him what his big growing plans were, and
I know, right?
But it was his. I did forget that this year I am going big on cut flowers.
Oh, really?
Cool.
I started doing them last year. Like I put in a big cut flower bed. Like Riley's Blooms. I don't know if you guys are familiar with her. She does social media, but she lives in California, turned her whole front, backyard, everything into a flower farm in like suburban California. So she's taught me so much about flowers, and she sent me a bunch of seeds and stuff last year, and I just kind of yeeted them into a bed and decided from what came up what I was going to grow this year. But I had so much fun growing them last year, so I'm going to do a bunch of dedicated beds just for cut flowers this year. Even just like making arrangements and all that, like surprised how much I enjoyed all of it.
Well, and there's a good market for that stuff. Like, especially because you do all farmers markets, right? That's where you sell your stuff.
Me?
Yes.
No. I actually have my shop, my print shop. I'll set up out front here when I'm selling my plants and stuff, and then I'll sell like right out of my garden. I'll set up a table in my garden.
That's awesome.
But like I'll go to like Goodwill or something and buy a bunch of glass vases for like $1 a piece.
Yeah.
Make 10 arrangements. I'd make them myself. Like I'm like, people like my flower arrangements. It's weird. So I'll make, and then I'll put them out there, $15 a piece. Come get them. Gone.
That's awesome, dude.
That's really cool.
I got $1 in a vase.
That's fantastic, dude.
Yeah,
well,
awesome.
and cut flowers are like, for the most part, like I grow a lot of zinnias. Like zinnias are like,
I got so many varieties.
Zinnias are like one of the easiest things to grow. If someone wants to get into cut flowers and making bouquets, hey, start with zinnias because you prune them and they double up. They grow more. But there's a market for that. Like there's really a market for that.
The thing is, like I as far as like selling flowers and stuff to people who like florists or whatever, like I have no idea how to price that kind of stuff. Like I don't know but I could put a bouquet together and sell that.
Oh, for sure. Well, especially
I got to figure the rest of it out.
especially if you already have the storefront, why not? You're maximizing your space. I mean, why not? You know?
And just I mean just like posting on Facebook and stuff is just like a local Facebook group or even my personal Facebook page. If I got stuff like I'll put a table out. If I do a big harvest, I'm like I can't use all this stuff. I'll be like I got a table out here, put my Venmo on it. Give me a donation, take whatever you need. It's usually what I do with that kind of stuff. And honestly, I'd probably make more by just asking people to leave a donation if they can than I would if I priced it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
the people that can't afford it, they're like, oh, I'll just basically like I'll pay for the person who can't pay for it. So
That's cool.
Well, a lot of times, like you got to at least make sure you charge like $1 because if you just give it away for free, then people just take everything. You know what I
see,
mean?
that never happened to me. It doesn't
Really?
happen. And yeah, because people will take for free, and I'm cool with that. But people that come and get it and can't afford, they'll pay more than it's worth.
Right.
So it at least it either evens out, or I end up making out better than I would have if I would have priced it. So
Right.
that's been my experience. I'm sure there's some places where people are just going to take it, and not you won't get anything. But here, I guess in a small town, people know me.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so
I actually, my job is down near a food bank, and I thought about that, like, hey, taking like a week's worth of okra, taking it down there. My dad actually, he was like, because I mean, if you have like 4 or 5 okra plants for a house of like 2, you're growing more okra than you could possibly eat. I mean,
Yeah.
in the middle of summer. So like, I would have like, I usually grow like at least like 30, 40 plants. So I'm picking like a thing of okra every day. And my dad does the same. And my dad put on Facebook Marketplace like, hey, 1 pound of okra, come pick it up. And okra is not like that easy to find. Someplace like fresh okra, it's not that.
You can't get okra up here.
Do you grow it?
I grow okra, yeah.
Yeah, man. I bet it sells out every weekend.
People love okra. I had no idea.
Yeah.
No idea.
It's
I
so
don't think
nuts.
I don't know anybody who has ever eaten okra.
Really?
Dude,
Any
you
listeners?
I haven't
being
had
in
okra until I
Ohio,
moved this south.
it is not a thing in Ohio.
dude, you would be surprised. I promise you, grow it this year because you can definitely grow it in Ohio. Grow it, and like if you put like up like you do your cut flowers, like hey, got pounds of okra for like $2, $3. You will be with as many like immigrants. Like immigrants they love okra. So like if you have like a population in your area, they will come from the okra. The Asian population loves it. The African population loves it. They freaking love it. So you would be surprised. They'll come out of the woodwork for fresh cut okra. They really
See,
will. I swear.
that's what I
They don't want the
always.
frozen stuff in the store. They
Yeah.
sell
The
frozen
last couple
okra. They don't
years, I
want
thought
that.
about doing it, but like, first of all, I don't even know. I don't know what it tastes like. I don't know anything about it. I don't know what I would do with it.
It doesn't really have a
It's
flavor.
one of the easiest things to fry I've ever done in my life.
Well,
Just
see,
in a frying pan.
I've heard that loofah, young loofah, is sometimes used as a substitute for okra.
Oh.
I heard it's tender
So
enough. I have heard that it's tender enough.
And I've tried loofah. I don't love it.
It's
I ate
probably
it raw. I didn't try to cook it or anything. It really, to me, it tasted like an exact mix between a zucchini and a cucumber.
yeah. It's
But
probably
yeah,
similar to a loofah. Like it doesn't have a whole lot of flavor. Like it's one of those things. Like it doesn't freeze that well. Like Keegan was saying, the frozen stuff does not taste as good as the fresh
Texture's
stuff.
weird. Yeah.
Yeah, it gets kind of rubbery and kind of like it's real like almost melted like wax but like fresh you cut it up, you put it like in some tomato sauce with some like onions and garlic and all that stuff, and they throw like in a gumbo or
you
anything
have to
else like
cook it though, right?
no
It's
no
better if
well
I recommend cooking it.
yeah
I recommend cooking it.
well
But
so
people eat it raw.
I'm more of a raw eater for like almost everything. Like my favorite way to eat okra, because I don't really like it that much cooked, is like I like it when it's about the size of your pinky. You go out there, I'm snacking in the garden, go grab a little piece, and it's a little slimy snack. It's just, but because they'll get woody quick. I mean, depending on the variety, they get woody real fast.
Yeah, that's what I
So,
thought. They were kind of tough, dude.
And they're
Trying to
darn
eat
near
raw.
unkillable. Like they're so
dude,
tough.
Mhm.
they literally will grow until they freeze. Like until it freezes, they will
freeze. Yeah.
and they'll grow super tall, and you can just chop them like to shoulder height, and they'll just start sprouting from the bottom.
So
Like,
is it something you just grown from seed? And you
dude,
have a plant you can harvest, like just like you're growing a pepper or something.
I've grown it
Yep.
in
Yeah.
buckets. I've grown it in buckets, dude. You can
It's
just
super tender.
toss some seeds. It grows like cannas. Like it grows like nothing else. It grows like wildfire. Can't kill it.
I might have to
And
give it a shot.
It's worth it,
It's
dude.
and the flower, like, it's a pretty plant too. The flowers are pretty. It's in the hibiscus family.
Yeah.
Oh,
Are the fruit
really?
flowers edible? Do you know?
I don't know that actually. That's interesting. I bet they would.
I know
be.
the stems are, right?
Yeah.
You can fry the leaves. You can fry the leaves
The
as a
leaves.
stir fry, and you
I would
can
have-
actually eat the flowers too.
I would assume the flowers would be edible, but I've never had a
think so.
flower. A lot of flowers are edible. I've never had one that tasted good. You know, like maybe use it as a garnish and decor. Like, but there's no good flower.
I hear that the pineapple guava flower is pretty lights
Yes.
out.
Pineapple.
It tastes like
guava.
marshmallows.
Yes, it's so
Yeah.
good.
Oh my god.
I tried the was it nasturtium flower?
Oh,
Yes,
they're
yeah,
like they're not good. They're like peppery. Like
It's
I don't
floral.
know.
Yeah, I was surprised because I don't subscribe to eating flowers, but I tried it and I was like, oh, this is not bad.
Squash blossoms are throughout the Southwest are a delicacy. Like they're fried.
Cooked
they're-
though, fried.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not. I've eaten
Yeah,
them raw
not just
one, and
not just eating
it-
them right off them.
It just tastes like flour. I mean,
I-
it's you know.
I have confirmation Froberg's phone died.
That's what I figured.
I
Yeah.
figured too. Yeah.
He's about the busiest human I know, and like I bet he's on that phone 30 hours a day. Like,
Oh yeah, dude. No, I when I first met Froberg, he was working at a farm, and like literally, I would hang out with him, but like he never stops working. He never stops going, dude. He was talking. I thought he was going to talk about this. At that farm, they leased an old airstrip, and they're planting their grapevine. So their farm is all you pick. Whenever you show up, you can pick your own strawberries, and they're leasing this it's an old airfield in Manville where it's going to be you pick grapes. So you can go out there and pick your own like muscadine grapes for jellies, like wine grapes or whatever. It's just going to be really cool. I mean, so I got to go metal detecting out there and found some like old bullets and stuff like that. It was cool. Yeah.
he does a lot of like agritourism stuff too. A lot of the secondary products at Froberg Farms, or they've got a whole like general store, and
It's full on Schrute Farms, dude. Schrute Farms is gonna be a bed and breakfast soon, I'm sure.
Okay, before he comes back, do you think we can convince him to be Dwight Schrute for Halloween? Can we buy him a yellow shirt and a brown tie and some glasses? Like,
Dude, he's basically Dwight Schrute every day. I don't know what you're talking about.
question: which bear is best?
Yeah, I have probably seen every episode of The Office no less than 25 times, like every single episode, because TV nowadays is so bad. I go back and just watch stuff from when I grew up, like The Office, Parks and Rec, Community, stuff like
that's
that.
My wife.
Yes,
Office.
yes.
The Office.
Oh,
I mean,
Parks and Rec, man.
Oh, by the way, Jeremy, I think your wife said you definitely have to get the glow in the dark petunias.
Sorry, bro.
You shouldn't say it. And then your twin brother said he's had the pickled okra. So someone you know.
My brother said he has?
Yeah, someone you know has had pickled okra.
And why isn't he sharing? Like you should have shared with you.
He probably
Yeah,
went to Buc-ee's. He probably went to Buc-ee's somewhere.
Buc-ee's. Oh man.
Yeah.
If you've never been to a Buc-ee's, this is totally unrelated. Like that is an experience. Like
What
that
is
is
a
that is
Buc-ee's?
the
I've never been to a
South.
Buc-ee's.
Man.
I'm over them now. I don't go to them anymore.
My
Good, I'll
AirPod.
go now.
They're usually too busy.
Is that
Oh,
like
you
a
get-
Cracker Barrel?
It's a
Kind of
gas
now.
station where you can buy stuffed beavers or brisket sandwiches or peanut brittle or fudge, and they have the cleanest bathrooms you'll ever go to.
Oh,
I will stop if it's the world's biggest gas stations is what they are. You can get
Got it.
barbecue and stuff like that. Well, they are known for having like the cleanest bathrooms. Like so, if you got to stop and take a number 2 on the road, Buc-ee's is where you want to go. You know,
I'm looking at it right now.
don't
like a
don't-
Texas thing or
don't go to Love's. And it's not for like 18-wheelers. Like 18-wheelers don't pull into them. It's so it's not like
Oh.
Love's. It's not like Love's where you have like the truckers taking showers and stuff.
yeah.
It's like
I thought okay.
it's for like tourists, but now like every time you go, you get like a busload of Japanese tourists, like they're clogging up like the barbecue. It's every time, dude. Every time, it's just like people taking pictures, and while you're trying to get your barbecue in line, it's just too much now. I don't even go to Buc-ee's anymore. I don't
They
even do it.
literally have like a giant like bronze beaver, Bucky the Beaver, out front
Yes.
of every one.
He's a
That's
false
how you
god.
know? Is that how you know? You're like, oh, I see the beaver.
The false gods of the South.
I shall not worship this false god. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, hey,
Oh,
so
that's great.
I don't know if this is true or not because I'm down here in Brazoria County where the first Buc-ee's came from, and I heard the rumor that the reason that you can't buy lottery tickets at the Buc-ee's is because the owner of Buc-ee's is a felon, and if you're a felon, you can't sell lottery tickets. I have
No idea.
No idea. Is that a Texas law or is that a federal law?
I don't know. That's a rumor I'd always heard, and I was like, "Why can't you buy scratch offs at Buc-ee's?" Well, because the owner's a felon or something like that. And so that's what I heard. That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what I heard. But I know people that know him. I guess I don't know if he's out there. Sorry, Bucky. The guy's name is Bucky. I guess named after the guy, and the reason they call it he has big buck teeth.
Like a beaver. Got it.
Like a beaver. Well, back to gardening. I think Jeremy's AirPods died. No, you were very easily I'm easily distracted, and you were a very good distractor.
That's also on my CV.
Yes,
Professor of something, A+ distractor.
Well, Phil,
You'll have to be your students are like, does that have to be on the test? And you're like, no. They're like, what is it?
Phil, this is the longest. Thursday was the longest. We went 50 minutes without talking about figs.
Oh, this is the longest now.
We went 75 minutes without talking about figs.
I brought it up in my goals.
No, you're right. So, how your figgies? I wear my hat for you, too, dude.
So, oh hell yeah! So today, I'm president of the Hobby Greenhouse Club here in Wilmington, and we had our Hobby Greenhouse tour. So a lot of the members, commercial and home growers, had open houses for the greater Wilmington area to come and visit. So I got to show everyone my setup, which is pretty rad. And
it's like a bar crawl, right? Like everybody, you go around to everybody's greenhouses and stuff.
Yeah, and like people are like, I have to have a fig tree, and like my neighbors come over and like, I had no idea you had this back here, and I was like, that's kind of a good thing, I think. And and it was a really fun day today. It rained a lot this morning, but the sun came out. It was 75. I'm freaking out because all my figs are breaking bud, and our past 2 years I've had a frost March 30th, and and a freeze actually, and it's effed with my figs so much because they think it's time to wake up, and they all start waking up, and I have no way to control it from them breaking bud. So I'm gonna have to concoct some crazy thing later in March if we have a freeze to try to save all these giant fig trees breaking bud.
I wonder if like a PVC, like a break apart PVC setup with like some sandbags and some like plastic wrap would work. The sides of my greenhouse are built out of 4 mil, 12. I think it's 20 by 24 plastic from Home Depot or Lowe's, and so you could build like a PVC, like just snap together, and you could be able to take it apart and store it in your garage or whatever,
Right.
And then just throw that plastic over there, throw some Christmas lights under there, and maybe just hold them over just for that last little snap.
Just that last little snap. I don't know. I was thinking about that. I did have one more goal. I'm in the midst of applying for a grant through our ag extension through North Carolina on getting high tunnels in our county. There's a lot of grant funding out for small farm operations, and so that's a big goal to apply, get that and start it up.
You already need a bigger greenhouse. Like usually by the time you buy a greenhouse, you buy it, you fill it up, and then you already need a bigger.
That's like Parkinson's law, right? Where there's there's more space. I'm going to put stuff in it. Duh. And then it's like, whoops, need a bigger one.
It's never big enough, dude. I've got a 12 by 20 now, and I already need a bigger one, dude. It just you got to be selective with your plants now. You got to be selective.
And what's great about figs is that they're precocious, right? They love the fruit in the first year, second year, but they get better as they age, right? It's as they mature. And so a lot of these new varieties that I'm testing, I'm excited to see how much better they get this year, with the age, the maturity, and the quantity of figs, and seeing what I can do with that. So I can really see which ones are going to light up here in the Wilmington area.
Oh yeah.
Phil, what's a good fig that I could grow in Maryland? Because I would like to get into figs, but I know nothing about
Oh, you talked to the right guy.
Probably, probably a Mount Edna, right? Probably
Mount Etna figs are great. That is a type of
Gotta write
fig,
that down.
Mount Etna. I have a few like Marseille Black. I have um, a Hardy Chicago is a type of Mount Etna fig,
Going to the
and
bathroom. Be right back.
you got it. And they ripen early, and they can die all the way down to the ground. I send a few of them to you, Vikram, actually, and
Yeah.
they will come up every year, and you'll get a main crop fig from those. You'll always have main crop figs. If they don't die to the ground, um, then you could get Brava figs, and they have these like club-shaped lobes on their leaves, and that's kind of a giveaway. So I have a few varieties of those. I also have Ronde de Bordeaux, which has long finger-like leaves that are little spade tips on them. That'll do really well too.
How do you spell that?
Okay, Ronde, like Ronde,
Okay,
and then de, like of in French, and then Bordeaux, like the region in France.
got that part. Yeah, got it. Okay.
Yeah, and then I do have some honey figs. I have an Adriatic fig called a Paradiso fig from Genoa, Italy, and that one was actually discovered by a famous fig person named Jean Jose from in suburban DC in Maryland. So it might survive for you because you're in. How
Okay.
far up in Maryland are you?
I
Are you?
Frederick County in Maryland?
Yeah,
I'm in Frederick
so,
County.
cool. So you're like halfway to Pittsburgh from DC, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
My wife's from Pittsburgh and my brother lives in DC, so I've done that.
Oh,
And
okay, yeah.
my parents are in Lancaster, Pennsylvania,
Okay,
in
yeah, that's
Amish
not too
country.
far either. Yeah.
And so my parents have 4 trees that they keep in pots that they wheel into the garage, and then they'll wheel back out every year. But in the ground, Rome de Bordeaux, Paradiso, I think would be a great option, and so would any Mount Etna type. So there's a Marseille Black. There is this Brooklyn Park that I have, Hardy Chicago, and a few others. So let's start with those, and I think that'll be a good starting point for you.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, somebody sent me a reel on Insta like 2 nights ago, and I was like, man, I gotta ask Phil about this because it was basically like cutting your figs down like during winter and then putting a ton of mulch on it, and then they
Yeah,
grow back in
you
the
can do
spring.
that, and certain varieties will respond. A lot of varieties will respond well to it, and we call it like rejuvenation pruning. But what happens if you have an established fig tree, and maybe Vikram, you can get into the science of this, they go into full throttle grow mode, and they'll just go bonkers. Like I had one that grew like 8 feet in a year, but it wasn't putting out fruit when everything else was setting fruit. It'll just keep growing and growing and growing, and it'll put out fruit at the like September, and I'm like, it's not going to ripen in time. So I don't, and people say that's because you chopped too much of it off, and it's trying to like reestablish itself. Um, but I've heard that with at least fig trees. I had there is a bug, the ambrosia beetle, that can really.
I've never heard you
No,
curse
Dude,
before, and I
dude, oh
enjoyed
my
that
god.
so much.
It's always Phil, dude. It's I cuss so much and I don't do it on my videos. And every time it's Phil. Every
it's
time it's Phil. It's always
because
Phil.
I hold it in all day because I have 3 babies under 5. Maybe
Oh
that's
my
it.
god.
Anyway,
That was fun. I enjoyed that.
I love you, Phil. Oh my god, that was great.
we'll be
That
seeing that.
was
You
so
like that? I
that was so
almost
good.
caught it. I almost had it back.
I saw
You
you
should
Dude,
have
In
set your
like a
try
freezers
the
and
batter's
cage
dude,
out.
box in the
That's
replay, I broke 90 on
you
the
have
replay,
you
and
have
it's still a
children.
strike.
How do you not have more control? You have children, dude. What the hell?
Because no, it's the opposite. I hold it in all day, and then it comes out when I get to have some bro time on
Oh
the
my
garden
god.
podcast.
The Bursky start flowing, you know.
Oh,
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
But
someone.
anyway, the ambrosia beetle, you have to cut all the way down to the ground because it's not the beetle that kills it, but it's the fungus that it inoculates the wood with that helps kill. Is that right? And and then you have to burn that wood. But then
Well,
I did that to one of my trees, and it grew like 8 feet, but it didn't fruit till way late.
is that different than the fig borer, Vikram?
Yeah,
Is it fig
so
board?
that's a so the fig borer gets down into the wood and chews it up and things like that. The ambrosia beetle more just kind of sticks its little mouth part in there and can transmit disease and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
I believe that's my
And it
understanding.
makes these like weird, like it pushes the wood out in these little like perpendicular little tiny things where like the leftover wood sticks out. It's like
Like
a
a
dead giveaway
canker.
you have it. Not so much like a canker, but like a little like if you were to bore like maybe it is if they were like to chew their way in, the wood just kind of starts sticking out as they push it out of the hole.
They kick it back in.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see. Like when you're drilling and you have the fragments coming out.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
got you.
Exactly.
Make
Uh,
sawdust.
and then Jeremy's AirPods died, so he's out. I told him he can jump. Man, people will be more prepared
And
for
then
this
Phil's
podcast.
dropping F-bombs, and then
Oh my
what's going
god,
on?
freaking!
All I had to
Chaos.
do was bring up figs and never just bounce. No, I'm just kidding.
Not again.
That's what it was. No, I wanted to because originally we had 8 people coming on. I was like, well, if we're gonna do it, we're gonna have this many people. We got to go for 2 hours. That way, everybody gets their time to talk and everything like that. So now we're down to the final 4. We're good. We're good here. We're good here. Oh my goodness.
We're good
Vikram,
until wifey texts me. But
oh, there you go. You're good, bro. You're
we're
good.
good for now.
Is the
You're
dog?
good.
Wait, Keegan, is your dog in there with you?
Yeah, she's sleeping. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Dude,
Yeah,
I used to let my dog in here until that one podcast where he heard somebody the Amazon showed up and he heard knocking and it blasted Phil's ears and I was like, oh, and I listened to the recording afterwards. I was like, oh my god, that terrified me. So like I he has to stay outside now. He can't be in here while I'm recording.
yeah, she's chilling. She's being good.
I wish I had a chill
Nice.
dog. I don't have a chill dog. I got an alert dog.
She's alert. She's just tired. She's tired. So
She's a farm dog. You put her to work.
I put her on the treadmill. We ran errands with her. So she's good.
That's awesome.
Wait, treadmill? You put her on the treadmill? She
Like
just
literally.
Yeah, she has a treadmill.
that's
She has a lot of working dogs. She needs to get it out. So especially the mornings I go into the office, I get up at like 3:50, put her on the treadmill. So she's nice and calm for my wife. When my
That's
wife gets
awesome.
up. Yeah. But she loves the thing. She
oh,
loves
that's
it.
cool.
It's like a dog treadmill made for dogs.
Dude, Keegan, you got another Maryland person here, Cree Gardner. Thanks, Southern Maryland here. Now 8A, trying to grow some figs now. So they're
You got it, dude.
yeah, that's awesome.
All right. Yeah.
There are some beautiful trees in DC that you'll see some fig trees. They get the heat effect, but I've seen when I lived there for a year, 15, 20-foot trees in DC.
Wow.
Yeah. I need to get on it. I like figs. I just know nothing about them.
Oh, and the best thing about figs is you don't need to know anything.
Yeah. The hardest
really-
part for fig trees is the first few years of growing them. And then it's like try getting rid of them. And then the fact that there's such a wide range of flavors, and then you can start playing with grafts and stuff. They're quite resilient. And I think the idea is growing your own figs is when you get that truly ripe fig. And that's when you're going to really see them kind of unfold where you're like, I don't need to cook this to release more sugars to convert the starches to sugars. Like it's already this sweet jelly pouch right here ready to go. They just don't have the shelf life. So you're going to have a lot of fun once you get a fig tree in the ground up there, especially if you get one of those Mount Etnas or a Ronde Bordeaux, because they taste great. Lots of berry tones in them.
Oh, sweet. Yes.
Yeah, man.
That's gonna be my. Do you sell those or?
I do. I'm propagating them now. I sold so many cuttings this winter. Like there were some of the trees I was like, I have to stop. I have a stump left. And I was like, you feel bad, but then you're like, at the same time, you're like, oh, all right, one more cutting. All right, real quick. Make someone happy. They deserve this.
I was
So-
Your cutting, if put that in the ground, it produces fruit within a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
If you do it correctly, they can get comfortable, put out roots, and grow, and they'll just want to. Even if it only grows like a foot or two, every node on that new growth has the potential to produce a fig.
Wow.
So every node, yeah, Jeremy's back.
Jeremy's
So
Sorry.
you can have, and then every node has the potential to put out a new leaf growth, right? And so, and it goes from there. That's why they can grow in a bush form. That's why you can prune them to grow in a tree form. That's why they're called like creeper figs, because like banyans or something. Like if you were to take those branches and fold, people old school fold those branches down and put bricks on them, and they'll start shooting like runner roots from those branches into the ground.
100%. Yeah. Well, they also call them creepy figs because I got so many in my backyard while I'm mowing the lawn. Sometimes I'll feel something like rub my shoulder, and I turn on like that. No, I was gonna say, because you were asking about like whether you can just stick them in the ground. They used to, like, there's an old Italian, I think it's Italian or Latin, saying that where I don't give a fig. I don't give a fig. It was actually a term. And it's because figs were so prevalent that like Italian grandmothers would just go take a cutting, like a foot long piece of fig, stick it in the ground, and it would pop up like in their backyard. You know, they were so prevalent that like, I don't give a fig. It means like, you know, it's nothing. It's like they're so common, it means nothing to me because they're so prevalent. You know, so that's like where the other one that Phil likes to use more broadly comes from. You missed it, Jeremy. We're getting demonetized because of Phil's figs. All because of that.
What did he do?
He dropped the F-bomb.
Right after
Oh man.
He goes, effing Jeremy.
That's exactly what I said.
So I didn't realize we've been on here for over an hour. The AirPod just dropped out. It said it stopped recording, but did you guys just see me out here bumbling around trying to the headphones and stuff?
Well,
yeah,
we saw your background for a while, just do nothing, and then I went to the bathroom, came back, and you were gone. So it's all good. It's all
but
good.
Yeah,
man.
so the iPhone makes it so like I can't have the headphones. I could have it charging, or I could have the headphones plugged in. I can't have both.
right.
You know,
You gotta get a dongle, bro. You gotta get yourself a dongle.
Well, I got one, but it was like an aftermarket, and it was like ruining the jack in my phone.
Dude, it seems like every time I buy a dongle for like an Apple product, you use it once and use that dongle once and it says it's good, and then every time after that you set it like in a drawer somewhere. You go to plug it in, and it says this accessory does not work with Apple. It's like it works once, and then this accessory does not work with Apple.
It worked for me for like the first couple times I used it, and then like I was having a hard time charging my phone with anything after that.
Yeah, I always keep my corded ones just in case. I always hold on to them just in case I end up needing them for that stuff. Yeah, we're just nerding down on some figs. You missed all the fig nerd talk. Let's see.
I'm going full Oprah. I'm like, you're getting a fig cutting. You're getting a fig cutting. So Jeremy, you're getting a fig cutting. You're good, man.
No, let's see.
I don't have anywhere to plant trees. I wish I could do some fruit trees. I do not have the space for them at all.
I've got like 30 of them growing in containers. Like growing in
How big
containers.
do they get?
Look at as big as you let them, dude.
Yeah, you can keep them smaller if you want.
But they'll fruit in a container?
100%.
Yeah, you can. Really? When I lived in Boston, there was a Portuguese family that lived around the corner. Boston, Massachusetts. How are you? Right near Touchdown Tommy. And then they kept all of their fig trees in 55-gallon barrels that they cut in half, and they put them on wheels, and they just kick all 30 of them into the shed in the winter, and they'd wheel them all out. My parents have 4 that they just keep in pots, and then they bring them in and out every year.
You just prune them back
for you
every couple of years, or if you
prune
them 1 year, will they fruit that year still? If you prune them, or
they fruit on new growth.
Dude, if Phil sends you a cutting tomorrow, you'll get figs this fall.
That's crazy.
Like,
a fig is another thing.
Also, but if you kill the fig cutting, don't be mad at yourself. I've killed plenty of fig cuttings. I had a nice theatrical one.
No idea what a fig tastes like.
Oh my gosh, dude!
But
this podcast is so great because Jeremy's going to be crushing okra and figs this year. It's
going back to Baker Creek guy. One of my favorite videos that he did was his fig vid.
I haven't seen it.
Oh man, it is so good. It is so good. Talk about the uncomfortable, like intimate tastings. The fig was the absolute worst.
Oh no!
I need to make a parody video of him. Like I dress up in the wildest crap.
Oh man, that would be great. Let's do it. Why didn't I?
We can all do our own renditions of him.
Oh,
we can all just do our little.
I gotta do it too.
Bro, this is the coolest melon out of Nepal. And he just eats the cucumber like, who eats a cucumber like this? Like, he eats it like, he was eating it like sideways, and I was like, what is going on, man?
Yeah,
Like,
just random bites out of like random.
He's like wearing
Yeah,
like
I'm just gonna-
like a pot handler as a hat. Like, it's just the weirdest thing, man.
He's got like the drug rug knitted thing on, and then with a welding hat. Like,
He's cooking like soups out in the woods with these guys. Like, it's if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, go follow Baker Creek Seeds. You think it's
Oh my god.
you're thinking just a seed. You're thinking,
We've lost him.
I don't know. I feel like it totally doesn't even fit their brand. It's like this guy just came out of nowhere.
they're in Missouri, dude.
But it's gold, man. It is social media gold as far as content goes.
Plot twist, he doesn't even work for him. He's just some
God.
guy
Yeah.
who just started making it.
Dude, if you don't follow Baker Creek Seeds, just go follow them for the content. It is hilarious, man. Because it looks like just some hobo broke into the facility.
Oh, yeah. I'm just gonna dress up like a wizard
making...
and go out in the garden and
dude. He if you told me he was a professor at Hogwarts that escaped, I would be like, yeah, that makes sense. It's Dumbledore's
another professor bit the dust trying to teach the dark arts.
By the way, I will get him on this podcast. I swear to God, I will get him on this podcast. He will be. We gotta start doing these big ones like on Saturday night more often, and I will get him on one of these, and we'll just be super nice to him. We'll be super nice, and then he'll send us some magic mushrooms, whatever he's on. You know,
like just like normal, and then hit him like, well, so how about them GMO tomatoes?
See what happens.
I'm like, hey, how well do you know David Duke? Or like, you know, it's like
we're growing some. I'll just sit like I won't even say anything. I'll just eat one the whole time. I'll eat a purple tomato the whole time.
Yeah.
So you are growing them. I'm curious to see how those turn out.
Did Josh Peck ever get back to you, Vikram? Did Josh Peck ever get back to you?
No, and I've tried to post a couple more, but I keep getting flagged for them. Like, this is unoriginal content. I'm like, I know. I'm eating a Kit Kat bar from the side, and I'm taking bites out of lemon rinds to mess with,
there's no
actors from the 90s. Like, come
on. There's no wrong way to eat a Kit Kat. Kit Kats are delicious any way you eat them. There's no wrong way to eat them. No, he's got a big podcast now. Like every celebrity has got a podcast now. Like it's almost to a point like where it's so oversaturated. But like he definitely has a big one. I think it's like about like I've listened to it before. I think. But I think it's more about like because like he lost a ton of weight or whatever, like from so it's not funny. It's not funny like this one.
Oh.
But no, I would highly encourage you harassing Josh Peck to continue to do that.
Yeah, I just need to probably just film it in app and like stitch him for real.
Yeah, no, for sure.
They quit like bullying me.
Well, do y'all have any big things going on in the greenhouse in the spring? That y'all are going to be bringing anything new, trying any new trials, anything crazy? I know you got a promotion. You got a promotion to a new office. I saw your office.
Yeah, congrats on that, man.
Appreciate it. We're just trying to figure out what we're, so I've hired that new manager at the greenhouse, and we're trying to figure out like what the spring's going to look like. Getting ready for our plant sale fundraiser for the spring. We grow out a whole bunch of stuff, ornamentals, veggies, whatever. It's funny because a couple of years we tried a whole bunch of unique varieties, and we'd made up like variety cards, like here's what's special about this one, and people would just come up and be like, yeah, but you got any like regular jalapenos? Yeah,
that's my issue too. When I
people just want the normal stuff. Yep.
So like all the cool varieties are for us because they're fun. We grow them in the garden because people like them. But when it comes to like buying them, like they want the green, yellow, red bells. They want an Anaheim pepper. Sometimes they want a jalapeno and a slicer tomato or like a sweet 100 cherry or whatever.
Are hatch peppers are real popular up there because y'all are kind of to New Mexico?
So hatch green chilies, hatch peppers get grown in eastern New Mexico. And so actually during green chili season, during hatch season, all of our local grocery stores will ship them in fresh, and they've got these big roasters, so they'll roast them fresh outside the grocery store, and you can go get like fresh roasted hatch green chilies, and
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
it's so good. We put green chili at everything. You can go to like Whataburger and get a green chili burger, and
Dude, in Texas, Mexican food is different in every single city. If you like go to Lubbock and eat Mexican food, or like West Texas, like El Paso, it's a lot of hatch green chilies and everything like that. But over here, you don't get any of that. You get a lot of tomatillo and stuff like that, and a lot of the salsas. And it's not as spicy. I think y'all have it spicier over there. Yes.
Eastern New Mexico. You go to any like Mexican restaurant in Eastern New Mexico, and just a pro tip: if you're ever in Ruidoso, New Mexico, and the older, Hispanic gentleman who's your waiter tells you, now this has a little bit of a bite to it, like, you
Don't do
believe
it.
that man. And you take whatever you think the spiciness level is and like ratchet it up. Like, I eat spicy food, and like I got these like green chili pork chops.
You're Indian. It's in your blood. You love spicy stuff.
No,
Yeah.
seriously. No, I mean, like, 100% honestly.
Yes.
And my wife looks up, and I'm like sweating. Like, my face is bright red. She was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "I don't know." And
My
she was
heat. Good.
No, I was gonna say, and she was like, "But you're still eating," and I was like, "I know, it's so good."
It's so
And I was
good.
just like dying.
My heat tolerance has increased so much over the past few years with like growing the hot peppers and everything, and doing all the canning and pickling and all that stuff. And it's like exponentially every year. It like seems like my heat tolerance. So this year, everything I made, like my salsa, all my peppers, all that stuff, everybody is like, too hot. It's too hot. Like, everybody's like, it's good, but it's too hot. Like, so everything I've canned is like, I have one friend who can handle it. Other than that, it's too hot. Everything I make is too hot for everybody else now.
I'm the most vanilla. I'm the most vanilla sour cream white boy ever. Like, if they say it's a little spicy, no, I'm good. I can't. I don't do spicy at all. I don't like. This is really spicy. Like, no, I don't do spicy at all.
Like I do
garlic,
cowboy
salt,
candy.
pepper.
I do my cowboy candy. I leave all the seeds in, and people are just like, it's just painful to eat it. Me, I love it. Like, I think it's perfect. But everybody's just. And by the way, cowboy candy, if you ever make it or you make a video about it, you can't call it that anymore. Because I got a strongly worded email from the people who trademarked the name cowboy candy.
Shut up.
And asked me to stop disparaging their brand. Yeah.
Oh man.
So I can't.
Well,
so if I make a cowboy candy video now, I have to call it candied jalapenos.
Candy jalapenos.
Okay.
That's so crazy, man. That goes back to the seed thing. That's so dumb.
And I mean, it's people
so
have been calling
stupid.
it cowboy candy has been a thing for like 100 years. Is what people have been like the ball canning book, the ball big canning book, candy or cowboy candy. They had to change it this year because those people got the trademark on it and made ball change the rest.
That's like calling like tissues Kleenexes, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah, synonymous.
Yeah.
Keegan, how do you do with spicy stuff?
I'm middle of the road for a Trinidadian. Poor, my family would tell me that.
Because y'all have the Trinidad scorpion. Y'all like literally the origin.
The scorpion, yeah.
Oh my god!
But I like something
Trini,
like this.
Not good, but average. Like, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
A scorpion.
Can you eat a scorpion?
Like that are ridiculous.
Oh no!
Nobody can. Yeah. Nobody can enjoy.
Nobody can.
No, dude. I mean, there's
people can.
There's a Netflix documentary.
Nobody enjoys that.
Dude, there's a go on Netflix. There's a documentary, and I forget what it's called. It's like the dumbest sports awards, and it's where they travel around. They travel around the U.S. and there's a guy. I think he's in North Carolina or South Carolina, and he grows the hottest peppers in the world.
Is that the Reaper?
It's
the Reaper is not the hottest.
Dude, he grows.
There's a new one. I forget what it's
an Asian variety.
He comes up with different, like the one he's got right now, the Scoville. They can't even register it. It's just called Pepper X. He sponsors a eating competition every single year. It's on Netflix. You'll find it. But it's an eating competition every year where like people will come in from all around the world and they like start out with like, habanero and Scotch bonnets, and they work their way up, and they're like eating like 2 and 3 ghost peppers. Like, like it's and that's like
Oh my
level.
gosh.
It's insane, dude. People were throwing up and like crying and stuff.
The hot
Like, dude, like your stomach would rot out. I would think your stomach would like diverticulitis would kick in.
Last
Something.
I think like the jalapeno or the habanero is the hottest pepper that can actually be useful. Like it's got that great flavor. You can really get and if you can handle the heat, like the habanero flavor is my favorite as far as hot peppers go, and I can handle the heat. I'm not going to sit there and munch on them raw. Like that's not enjoyable. But as far as like making stuff with them, like the habanero is as hot as I'll go. Anything over habanero is just a novelty. Like you're not even enjoying the flavor at that point. It's just, I'm just growing this hot pepper to, eat it and look like an idiot on the internet.
And people are usually disappointed because the hotter the pepper, the longer it takes to actually get peppers. Like it seems like the hotter the pepper, if you start them from seed, like it could take a month to germinate. Like on those really hot peppers.
Habaneros are slow growers.
Yep. Habaneros, serranos, they're a little faster, but like when you start getting into like your Trinidads and your Scotch bonnets, like the Chiltepins here in Texas, you get into your ghost peppers and your Trinidads, it could take it could take up to 90 days to get like a germination, and then you could be up to a year getting peppers. I mean, like that's why I grow all my stuff in like all my peppers in containers, so I can bring them in the greenhouse over winter. Because I mean, imagine taking a little seed of a ghost pepper, it's that big, and then not getting a pepper all year, and bringing in your garage or bringing in the greenhouse, and hopefully one day get a pepper. It's just
Big win this year in the greenhouse. I overwintered my 10 pepper plants. They all came back.
all
I went
10.
all 10 for 10.
Where are you at?
I'm in Wilmington, North Carolina, so right on the beach.
Okay. See, it's me for overwintering peppers. Not great. I try every year. I got one of my jalapeno. One of them right now has got leaves on it, so I'm hoping I'm hoping to get half of them, but I don't have good success trying to overwinter here in Ohio.
So
it's just too long a time frame to do it. Like if you do it in your basement.
Yeah, that's it. I don't know. It's tough. I did it for the first time last year, and I was like, I studied it. I was like, I got this down. I'm gonna nail it this year. And now I'm like, if I get half, I'll be happy. We'll see what happens. But
I just grow them in 15-gallon pots now. I grow them in 15-gallon pots, and then I just bring them right into the greenhouse or into the garage, and I never have to worry about like digging them up or anything like that.
Thing is, here in Ohio, you got to bring them inside. Like you can't put them in. You can't even put them in the garage.
Your basement.
Like,
you bring them to your basement.
I got to put them in my basement.
My garage, and they didn't do well.
Yeah.
So I got to bring them inside, and then so I can't bring a giant pot because I did bigger pots, like 1-gallon pots the first time. I was like, I can't trying to manage 8 plants in a gallon pot. So I did smaller pots this year. They're actually now my light goes out. But they're actually doing better in the smaller pots because I learned a lot last year. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. This might be my last year overwintering peppers because it's kind of a lot to try to deal with them, and I don't know.
So I prune them back to like the main stem. It's like a foot or two of the main stem. I bring them in the greenhouse or in the garage. Like I brought them in the garage before, and I had about a 50% success rate in the garage. In the greenhouse, I only did 2 or 3, but all 2 or 3 of them are doing pretty well. I'll probably already be getting some peppers here in a month or so, which would be nice. But this depends on where you have, like how far you have to go with them. Like you were saying, Jeremy, if you got to take them inside the garage, you might have ants in them and all that kinds of mess.
Well, see, when I do mine, I dig them up, wash the roots off completely clean, chop the roots down to like manageable size, and so I can get them in a little pot. And then I put new soil in it and then bring them in the house. So I'm not just digging them up and bringing that soil from the garden in the house, everything like that. So I would probably have a better success rate if I did that. But I'm not doing that.
yeah, right.
No, I feel
no. No, for sure. And it's not like I'm not a big pepper eater. I grow a lot of peppers. My wife, we make a lot of pepper jelly, and my wife sells it. Pepper jelly does really well. I can't do anything with it; it's too hot. But we also dehydrate a lot of peppers. And I learned a couple years ago, never dehydrate peppers inside the house, ever.
I
Uh,
still do it. I still do
I
it, and I regret it.
Farmer Froberg's in the chat. He's feeding the pigs right now, listening. He actually came over here to shoot a video a couple years ago, and I was dehydrating a bunch of I think it was habaneros and Mad Hatters and Serranos and Thai chilies, and I set him at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and it was around lunch whenever he showed up. And I was sitting on the couch watching TV. He knocks on the door. I said, "Come on in." He takes 2 steps into my house and goes, "Good Lord." And I say, "What, dude?" And he goes, "Dude," he goes, "What is going on in here?" And I'm like, "Oh, what do you like the peppers?" He goes, "Dude, it feels like I got pepper sprayed." And
Yeah.
I wear contacts. I go look in the mirror and my eyes are bloodshot. My eyes are bloodshot. It's like it's like one of those things like when you break your leg and you don't realize it's broken until you look down. I look in my eyes and then all of a sudden everything was burning. And it's like I had to open up all the doors of my house. Now I dehydrate everything in the garage because I can't do it anymore, man. But I'm also a weenie when it comes to hot stuff too, though.
I'm gonna take a restroom break, and I'm actually gonna grab one of my overwintered peppers to show you that.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
I got my text, fellas.
Okay, Keegan. If you got a roll, man. I appreciate it.
you guys have
Hey,
to
just make sure everything uploads, dude.
Okay. So
Thanks,
that's in the top right.
Yeah,
Sure.
it'll tell you when it's done loading, man. Thank you
Okay.
so much, dude.
Well, thanks for having me, man.
Oh, anytime, bro. Follow
Yeah.
Keegan's Garden on Instagram. Keegan is not on Facebook. He's on Instagram. Go follow Keegan's Garden.
All right. You guys
Hey,
have a
no,
good
take
one.
it easy, man.
Take it easy, buddy.
Bye.
Someone said, "Sorry, I'm late." Speaking of late, can I cut off a branch of my Little Miss Figgy and prop it, or is it too late? So I have experience with Little Miss Figgy because they are trademarked
I was
by
gonna say they're trademarked, right?
Better Homes and Gardens. So you can absolutely, I think it's Better Home and Garden. They have a lot of propagate. They have a lot of, or maybe they have Figtastic. There's one called like Figtastic or whatever.
Oh, who makes
like
that one?
I think
Profig? No.
I think it's Home and Garden. I forget which one, but somebody owns the patent for Little Miss Figgy. So you can absolutely still do propagation. Spring's a good time to do propagations. You just want to make sure you put them like in a shadier spot when it starts to warm up. But Little Miss Figgies are cool. You can propagate them. I've done it. You can't sell them because they're trademarked. So you can do it to have more Little Miss Figgies. I'm not the biggest fan of Little Miss Figgies. They produce a bunch of little ones, and I don't think they're I'd rather have the Violet Bordeaux.
And they're very similar figs, I think, personally.
Well, that's where a Little Miss Figgy comes from. A Little Miss Figgy was a mutation branch that came off of Violet de Bordeaux, and the guy propagated it, and so it's essentially just a Violet de Bordeaux, but a smaller version. I mean, that's all it is.
Yeah. Well, there's an awesome small variety that I'm excited to have that I learned about. I picked up one from, there's a guy in Pennsylvania, Bill, from Off the Beaten Path Nurseries, but it's called Nerucciola de Elba. So that just means like a tiny little black fig from that looks great, man.
Oh, that's awesome, right?
So
there,
yeah,
man.
I've got them in these smaller pots.
That's how I did mine. Yeah.
And I just cut them down, kind of like right above those first nodes.
They get super woody.
Yeah, it's super woody.
Well, so this one, see, when this still has the green, and I have a few that still have green in them. Some of them are just like completely, brown. So I don't know what's going to happen with them.
Have you guys ever seen a picture of a pepper plant that's like 4 years old and it's like got like lignified wood? It's crazy looking, but it looks really cool.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like we have like perfect pepper growing conditions here.
Yeah.
In the summers, and my peppers always get these like tree trunks on them. Everybody's like, "How do your peppers like in 1 year look like that?" Yep. But yeah, my peppers do great here. Everybody's like, what's your secret to growing peppers?" I'm like, we're just lucky. We're lucky to have the conditions we have here because it's perfect. Not too hot, not too,
proper pruning too, like pruning them up like a little bit as well, and I put mine in a shade cloth when it gets too hot. I put mine in a shade cloth.
Yeah, so like they're tropical plants, so the heat, we get some, in the summer, it gets pretty hot, but it's not Texas hot. So it's pretty much perfect for them.
It's Ohio hot.
Oh yeah, and honestly, it gets hotter here than we're used to, like a few years ago. But yeah, we'll get in the hundreds at some points. But
Well,
Yeah.
it's so
but
it's so funny.
It doesn't sustain that. But yeah, I mean, 90s for a long time isn't uncommon. So
Yeah. Well, it's so funny. We were talking about earlier, Vikram, you were talking about with the climate change, and I'm definitely not going to get into climate change talks or anything like that. But it feels like here in like Texas, we've been getting hotter summers and colder winters. Like the really cold winters.
Yeah, you guys have been
more
having
common.
weirdly, like the freezes and stuff you're getting.
It's like counterintuitive to like all the climate change. I was like, well, hey man,
Well,
we're getting
it's
colder winters.
you get more volatile climate shifts, right?
Yeah, it's more
I guess I could
extreme.
tout on this because part of my research was in paleoclimatology. So, but like, you can just it's not going to be just a general. You're looking at linear trends, and you're going to have these like static jumps all the way up the line until you find that trend in temperature mean, right? But you can still have like these volatile shifts because we think of like those Arctic blasts. Like that's when we get cold here is when you have a dip in like the jet stream. And so you're waiting for a weather pattern to cause a cold event, and without those one-off weather events, right? I don't know what causes your cold spikes.
Similar, so at least
Mhm.
where we are, because I'm 500 miles from Destin,
Right.
here in Northwest Texas. Yeah. So like what I've noticed is that we get like our weather patterns have shifted. So like this year we've been, I mean, it's been warm everywhere. It's a La Nina year. Like it's rough, but like normally our average annual last freeze is April 10th ish.
Mhm.
And like looking at the extended forecast, like we may be done. I don't know. Like my apricot tree is blooming. My peach trees are blooming. My red buds in the front yard are blooming like a month early.
Yeah.
And it was 75 today. It's supposed to be 83 on Tuesday and then go back down into the 40s. We may get some light frost later this week. But what I've noticed is that like we're getting warmer. We're getting hot sooner. So in the past, when I was a kid, I've lived here my whole life. We would see like May would be fairly pleasant. June would be starting to get hot, and then July and August, it's like, I mean, just hold on, right? Like, I've seen 117 here, which is it's dry, which is people say that's better.
Oh yeah,
at least it cools off
Yeah.
at night.
Oh,
right?
you get 100 here in Ohio, miserable,
Brutal.
miserable.
Mhm.
All the humidity.
I'll go out to work in the garden. I'm doing like 30 minutes at a time. Go back in air conditioning. Go back
Try
out
not
for a
to
little
die.
bit. But yeah, like if I go to
Yeah.
California, like and it's 100 degrees in California, nothing like 100 degrees here.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I'm being jeans. I'm comfortable in California.
Oh yeah.
Like I remember single digit humidity here in the summer. Like it's like we still get it. But it's getting warm. So like last year we hit 105 in May.
Wow.
And I mean that's hard on our plants. Like I don't even do spring tomatoes actually. I do fall
I remember you
tomatoes.
telling me that. Yeah.
It gets too hot too fast for our tomatoes to set right, to do well here. So I'll start them in the greenhouse or start them inside in July. Plant them outside like mid August, and we can usually harvest tomatoes till early November. I'll do some short season ones in the spring, but all my longer season stuff, like indeterminate tomatoes, we just limp them through the summer. We'll cover them with some shade. We'll do some stuff to keep them alive, but they don't fruit. Like they just hold on for dear life.
Once it's a certain heat, they don't put out anything. I mean, and that was some questions I was getting today. Like they were asking about last year was such a dry, hot year, and they were asking me about like, hey, my landscapers came through and they pruned my pear trees really back really hard, and I didn't get any pears. I didn't get any plums or like that. I told them, I was like, last year was so hot and dry that everything was in fight or flight mode. It was either putting out a bunch of like buds to pollinate and then die, or it was just holding everything in and trying to stay alive, because it was just so miserable last year. I didn't have a good crop on anything except for like okra last year. Like squash did okay until it stopped raining. It didn't rain for like 3 months. I couldn't water enough. It was just miserable.
That's what we
That's
do get
crazy.
lucky here, that we do have consistent rain. We haven't. It's been a
Man.
long time since we've had any kind of like drought or anything like that. So we are lucky here, and that's great for me because I water everything with rainwater.
Well,
Oh, that's great.
And y'all have 4 seasons, like consistently 4 different seasons.
I don't know, man. Now we just got we got fall and winter is kind of like one thing now.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, and it really is. It's like once it starts getting cold in fall, like the winter really wasn't much different this year.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean that's how it is kind of here. We don't really have a spring. We have like a winterish kind of thing, and then it goes into summer, and then fall is really just early winter. It's like 3 or 4 months of winter, and everything else is just hot. It's just
Yes.
Spring here usually kind of sucks because you get real excited because you get those like warm days, and then you'll get like a day that's like 30 degrees out of nowhere.
Mhm.
So you get you get these ups and downs all through spring because you're getting ready to go. But I have noticed that I can start planting earlier now. Like people always did Mother's Day here would be their day to get their plants and plant their gardens and stuff. I always held off till Memorial Day. But now I'm like, no reason to hold off anymore because for the last few years there's never been, because a lot of times we would get that random frost. So and then
Right.
everybody's plants would die, and I was like, told you guys, you're too early.
Well,
Now-
I had some gamblers in the chat and at the talk today. They're like, "Oh yeah, we already planted our tomatoes," and I was like, right now you're getting like that false sense of security.
Yeah.
Like we're done.
It's like a false spring, and I'm willing to bet that we get another, like, maybe not a freeze here, but like a little bit of a cold snap, enough to, and it won't be enough to like kill your tomatoes, but it may dwarf them. Like I put out tomatoes too early, and they get like it drops down in the 40s. It won't kill them, but they don't. They slow them.
It'll
It slows
stun
them
'em.
down. Yes, and they don't get as big. They don't. But you can also have that issue when you don't start them early enough. You start them too late. It starts getting super hot. So it's just, tomatoes are very finicky, and it's almost easier just to go find someone like Jeremy. You can just buy his tomato starts and not have to worry about the timing of when to start tomatoes. I get why some people don't even bother starting seeds.
For me, like, I'm never in like a big hurry to get everything planted because I got my personal plants. I have them in big pots. I can just put them in a greenhouse. They can live in there. They thrive. They do great till I feel like I'm 100% certain I can get them in the ground now. Because my garden is too big to go and try to cover everything up. Like, that's not happening if we get a frost.
Right.
So
No. Well, and I was telling people today, I was like, if you're going to plant tomatoes out right now, make sure you got another set of tomatoes in the greenhouse or in the garage to replace those when those inevitably die. Because something's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's usually, make sure you got replacements.
Jeremy, like you were saying, you used to wait till Memorial Day, and you would tell people, or people would say Mother's Day. Like, we're kind of like shifted back 3 weeks from you, probably. Like, I tell people wait till Mother's Day to plant your tomatoes outside, but now I'm looking at like tax day. Mid-April
Oh, yeah.
is a little bit, because 2016
That's
or
late,
17, we had 24 degrees on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. Like, we'll get some hard late freezes sometimes. Usually by around the 1st of April, we're done. But I've seen weird stuff here. Our weather, we got rated by the Weather Channel about 10 years ago the most volatile weather in the United States. We beat out Fairbanks, Alaska.
Oh, Jesus.
And I'm like, why do I live here? What am I doing with my life? I'm a gardener, a plant guy. And it consistently blows 50 miles per hour during the summer, and it'll get to 1 degree in the winter and 117 in the summer, and we get 18 inches of rain. Like, what am I doing with my life?
Sometimes I just want to move to Florida, dude. Sometimes I just want to, like, pack all my desert roses, my plumerias, and move to Florida.
But then you'd have to live in Florida.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say,
And
unless you really like people watching, I guess.
It's just a
honestly,
step
I don't
below
think growing
Mississippi
is any
and
easier
Louisiana.
in Florida. I feel like people in Florida have like the same issues, and then you got all the
From a
bugs and stuff.
and from a fig perspective, there's a really bad nematode problem in Florida for a lot of people where
Really?
there's a lot of grafting going on or growing in pots for fig trees because nematodes will chew up. Some of the LSU varieties are resistant against the nematodes, but um,
And
I've
then
heard some really bad stories about it.
you got all them storms coming all the time, and like
Well,
just popping up out of nowhere in Florida.
I'm in
Like,
Houston. I got him here though. You know what
I
I
was
mean?
going to say, and I'm like
I'm,
ground zero for hurricane season. Like if you look at the hurricane track map, we're just like solid.
it's
Of all the
actually
paths are just
it's,
Wilmington.
yeah. Phil's actually worse off than I am. I think where he's at. North Carolina and South Carolina get hit harder than us. It's
Yeah,
pretty wild.
because we're right there just south of the Outer Banks. We call it hurricane. I mean, as a surfer, it's pretty rad because every hurricane that goes to the Atlantic spins off and sends us some tasty swell,
Some
brah.
tasty smells.
And I'm
Hey,
out shredding.
hey, Phil, I'm gonna give you 10 seconds to like bro out real quick. Tell us. I want to hear some gnarly vibes coming from you real quick.
Oh man.
Hey,
Should
so
I sound like that guy on the
uh,
news from way back in the day?
the,
It's
the
the
hat,
best
the
barrels
hat,
ever, dude.
I remember that.
the hatchet killer guy, the hatchet dude.
Oh
No.
no, that's a different one. He's like, anybody got a mini mal I could crush the boo with, like
The hatchet wielding
I'm
hitchhiker.
getting I got my whole quiver ready to shred, man. With Johnny Utah. No,
I've never
That's a
seen
deep
Point
cut.
Break.
That's a deep cut there, man.
I've never
oh,
seen Point Break. I've never seen it.
it's worth it.
I've seen.
I think you could pop it in the VCR after this podcast and give it a go.
The VCR.
I don't. I
I've seen
couldn't
Surf
imagine
Ninjas.
if I
Surf
watched
Ninjas is good.
If I watched Point
What's that?
Break now, it would not. I would not give it the review that I did when I watched it when it came out.
Dude.
But I mean, we get 4 p.m. storms because the water's warm here. I mean, it water breaks 70 degrees by May here, and when you hit into those 90s, it's just all that moisture goes right up. And if you want to surf here, go out in the morning because in the summertime the wind usually goes onshore and blows it out, man. No swell to be had.
I live by this thing where as if I never get in the water, then I never have to worry about being eaten by a shark. Because guess what?
Yeah, but you don't need to swim faster than the shark.
Well,
Just the people you're with.
Here's the thing:
Buddy, yeah.
if I'm in my backyard in my garden, I never have to worry about a shark. Not once. There's a 0% chance.
Just fire ants.
Except for a sharknado. You're probably more likely to be killed by fire ants than you are a shark. That's probably
Possibly.
somewhere.
No, it depends. Like it's like people are like, oh, you're more likely to be struck by lightning. Yeah, but I'm not. I'm out there flying a kite in a thunderstorm. Not everyone's paddling out in the big inlet in the middle of a barrier island, so I could try to catch some waves where I know bull sharks are. But I roll the dice a few times, but I try not to put myself in precarious situations. So like I try not to go out at dusk or dawn at an inlet. Or if I see fish jumping, like maybe move away from there. But have I seen sharks in the water? Yeah, but I'm generally bigger than them, except for the hammerhead I saw one time. That was bigger than me, and I got out.
No, that sounds terrifying, dude.
It was terrifying.
I'm not much of a risk taker. I'm not. The biggest risks I take are like, hey, am I going to get another cold snap to put my tomatoes out? Like that's usually my risk taking.
Yeah, I was definitely in my youthful years. I guess I'm 37 now. I'm still young, right? And I did some skydiving, lots of rock climbing. I was a big skier, and now I'm a surfer, and it's just my little adrenaline outlet.
No, I'll be 35 next Friday, actually, and so
Ooh.
I've never broken a bone. I've never had surgery of any sort. I live a very safe life here.
That's good.
Stay in the garden. Not going to worry about. Oh my goodness. Well, guys, I've had y'all on for over 2 hours. I don't know if y'all got to run or anything like that, but I appreciate so much for y'all coming on. Real quick, Jeremy, where can everybody find you, dude?
Everywhere. I'm on pretty much all of them. Mainly
in the streets. Find me in the streets.
Find me in the streets. My main platforms: Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. I have a YouTube. I'm working on it. Gonna be doing
I
more
imagined
on
a
there.
trench coat and you opened it, and then zucchinis and tomatoes came out.
It's all heirloom tomatoes,
Yeah.
dude. Hey, you got to get on that. What is it? Gemini. Google Gemini. Have y'all messing with the AI art yet for your thumbnails and stuff?
No.
You gotta You gotta do it, man. Especially for you, Jeremy, with
What
all
is
your screen print and stuff.
what is Gemini? I haven't heard of that one.
So Gemini
I've
is it's a
I've
Google
I've
subscription
I've
service.
dabbled in some like AI stuff, but man, every time I get nothing like what I'm looking for
Oh.
ever.
I I asked for Deadpool and Wolverine gardening, and I got like, and you can pick what style you want. Like you can find stuff like that. You can ask it cool things. I did a little trial of it,
But I
but
feel
like
like
for screen printing,
you have to be
like
like
if
a
you wanted like
wordsmith. You have to write a novel.
Dude,
no
Wolverine
no
could
to get
Wolverine
no,
could
no.
till some
to
soil.
actually-
Let me tell you.
to actually get what
No,
you're
if you
looking
want
for.
like a comic book punk rock tomato or something like that, like a cool picture, and you could take the background out and screen print that on. Like you could really do some stuff with it.
But yeah,
Especially with
like
your,
so I'm an artist and a designer too. So I was like, well, AI might be an effective tool for like when I'm like brainstorming an idea.
You're gonna
Let me
hate
put
it
it
then.
into AI. So instead of doing a bunch of thumbnail sketches and stuff, let them like throw something at me, kind of let me get a visual of what I'm thinking about. Never even remotely close to what I'm looking for, ever.
Oh
So
no,
There's like always
it's
too many fingers.
oh
yes.
yeah, too
And then
many
like
fingers.
if there's
The fingers.
if
are
there's
the,
any words, it's like
Yeah.
gibberish. It's like
Yeah.
some foreign language. It's wild.
Are y'all on this Willy Wonka experience TikTok? in
Oh
Glasgow?
man,
No.
I heard about it. Tell me about it. Talk to
I watched
if y'all got time. If y'all got time, we'll chill for a little bit.
I watched a bit of
I
it.
go a little longer.
And it,
Yeah.
and it,
Maybe
and
like
it
two
just,
like 2
it
minutes.
was,
I gotta wrap
it
it up.
was
Check
so
my wife.
cringy. Like I couldn't watch it. I was like, I just felt so uncomfortable. I know that these people are going through this.
It's so
And
bad.
that poor
so bad. This is
woman who
my
had
Roman
that
Empire.
picture of her, like the like
Just-
Oompa Loompa woman, that poor lady. She had to like
Yep.
make a TikTok
It's
just
very
to
depressing.
explain herself.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
what
Well,
was
and
that?
the
I think
Scottish
it was
Willy
like
Wonka didn't get a break. He didn't get a break for like 14 hours. Like he couldn't go to the bathroom for like 14 hours or something like that. It was wild.
I felt so bad for the people that had to be actors. I just discovered this like a couple days ago, and I went down the rabbit hole on TikTok.
Oh, it just happened, and like my For You page is like 80% that because my friend sent me like 30 videos about it. He was like, "My job today is to ruin your FYP," and he did. And yeah, no. So this guy like let AI write this whole experience, and like all the like it's really funny.
But he let
Like,
it
if you
write
look
the
at all the
scripts for
promotional
the
ads-
actors and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
come up with
Everything.
characters. It's insane.
If you don't think they've been using it for television and movies already, like they're definitely using it for that stuff. That was actually in the writers' strike a while back. Like they wanted to restrict, but here's the thing: you can't trace like if it was used. You'll see little common sayings in like articles or whatever that it'll use, but as long as you read it and stuff, you don't have to worry about it. I mean, it's so weird though, but like they'll definitely be writing all of our TV shows and doing all the articles. Now everybody's using AI art for their thumbnails and posts and stuff. It's pretty wild, man. But as an artist, I could see why you would probably hate it, Jeremy.
Yeah,
you would probably definitely hate it.
And I wanted to give it a chance. I was like, it could be a tool, to make things a little easier. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's not. It's
for
just
brainstorming material.
Yeah, like for me, for somebody who is an artist and a designer, it's kind of useless. But I mean, I could see why a lot of people are like, hey, if I need a cover for my album, like I'm just going to put it in AI and not pay an artist to do it. So yeah, it's useful for some people.
Absolutely.
But
it's good for the less skilled people like me,
But then they have new AI videos and stuff I was seeing with that. I forget what it's called. But it's making
on CapCut,
like
the editing software that we use.
like
It has
text,
AI
text,
templates, so we
it's
can put your
creating
footage in there.
like it's creating text prompt video that you cannot distinguish from real video. It is
It's
insane.
kind of
Like
scary.
even like
Yeah.
2 years ago, like if you would do a text prompt video, it looked like something out of a nightmare. Like it was
Yeah.
just crazy. Now it's like it looks like reality. You can't like you really have to like if you're not paying attention, you think it's a real video. It's
Well, and the
weird.
algorithm pushes that kind of stuff too. Like the algorithm always pushes that kind of stuff. It's so weird, especially on TikTok.
Yeah, and then Facebook is just flooded with like people building like sand sculptures and carving stuff in the wood. Like I built
Oh,
this with my own hands, and then you have all the like all the old people are like, oh, it's beautiful.
yeah.
Like this guy's got 8 fingers. He's got 8 fingers, and one arm is made out of wood connected to the sculpture. Like,
This
how do you
man's
not see?
okay.
It's so wild. It's so wild what they can do now. It's so crazy, man. But there is some cool stuff. Like I was saying earlier, like if you shoot a horizontal video for like YouTube,
Yeah,
CapCut has an auto reframe where it can take that horizontal video and reframe into like a 1x1 and like focus on whatever, and that way you can take that and put it like on Instagram or Facebook or whatever,
Oh,
and
that's
turn
cool.
your horizontal video into like a reel or a TikTok or whatever. I don't know. Are y'all over TikTok? I'm kind of over TikTok, and
This week I am.
that's
Well,
saying
yeah.
something. My biggest following is on TikTok. I have 189,000 followers on TikTok, and I do not pay any attention to it whatsoever.
So for me, TikTok is like last year I went like 2 months where I was like posting on everything else but TikTok because I was just over it. And then I was like, all right. Well, and then a lot of people followed me on there, like, why aren't you posting anymore? You ain't post. So I was like, so I'll just might as well just post them here. I'm making them anyway. And then out of nowhere, my TikTok just absolutely blows up. Like I'm making a bunch of money on it. Like it like my followers are going like crazy. And then now we're back to like where we were before that. So
Yeah.
like with like Instagram, it's consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Some videos will do better than others, which is, expected, but it's consistent. TikTok, there's no consistency there. You never know what's going to work. Like, I mean, it's just like hit or miss. So, I mean, I figure might as well post because something that I think is just basic content that, is going to get my average views. Something that, I mean, it could just blow up on TikTok and you don't know why. It could just have one thing that, somebody's like, so I post on it, but it's my least favorite.
I'm finding that Facebook is becoming my most favorite media platform.
But the thing about Facebook for me that sucks is that it's the only one where the reels are only 90 seconds.
Yeah.
All my content is over 90 seconds. So anything over 90 seconds, Facebook doesn't push that to anybody really. Nobody really see.
So for anything over 90 seconds, I will post it because there's people who will watch your videos as a reel on Facebook, and there's people who are watching like from their desktop or like on the Facebook Watch app, like on their computer TVs, where they'll watch longer form videos. So like I will put my like longer than 90-second videos as a Facebook Watch video, and it gets a bigger reach from what I'm seeing.
Okay.
And so I would highly encourage like any of those videos like for YouTube, like they're like the horizontal, post them on Facebook, and they do really, really well. Facebook, I'm leaning towards Facebook being my favorite platform at this point.
But like even
Facebook's-
on Instagram, like if you want to post something as a reel, it would have to be 90 seconds. But if you just do it as a post, they still put it as a reel.
Yeah, it's weird.
So like it could be 3 minutes. It's still a reel. It's still going out to the same amount of people. Facebook's the only one that doesn't do that for some reason. And then YouTube Shorts, 60 seconds. Like that just doesn't work for me at all.
No, it doesn't. No, and Vikram, you're probably the most active on TikTok for all of us.
Right? Yeah, and I cross post pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Right now, but yeah, I have. I don't know, and I don't know why it is that I have the biggest following on TikTok, but it means the least, if that makes sense. just because
Yes.
the way the
Mhm.
algorithm works. Like, so
Yep.
I've got, and I don't have a huge following, but it's 45,000. Like, it's not bad.
Yeah.
But like, what I've found is that if I'm trying to think of how to say this. Like, if I make my content for TikTok, like the things that I think should do well on TikTok.
Like the Josh Peck thing.
Yeah, right. That type of content seems to do well, like on Instagram and other places too. So, like in my mind, I'm making TikTok content, even though I'm really like probably having more success with it. Well, like you said, Jeremy, Instagram's consistent for me. I had a video earlier. What I will say is a lot of times they do fairly similar on the two, TikTok, Instagram. Instagram's usually a little bit better. But I had the biggest disparity between videos on the two platforms earlier last year, where I had one that got maybe 6,000 views on TikTok and got 36 million on Instagram.
You had a video hit 36 million on TikTok.
No, on Instagram.
Oh no, that's even better.
That's
You know what?
crazy.
Yeah.
No,
36
that's not better because Instagram doesn't pay anything.
Yeah.
Well, that's
It
also
was
true.
short anyway.
But I mean, audience retention, like you're going to get more followers off of. I feel like you're going to get more followers off Instagram to like a 36 million.
Yeah,
view video
but I got a
than you
20
would have like a TikTok video.
I got a 25 million view video on TikTok that was monetized on the creator next program.
Pretty good. That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
But 3 days before that, I had a video with 5 million views. So I was like,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is insane.
Every time I have a video that hits like a couple million, like I've had like some that hit like 5-6 million, it will be monetized. Like it's like on Instagram, it always happens when it's not monetized.
Heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking. Yeah. But I mean, it's the luck. It's a luck of the draw, man. It's like you throw a card out there and hopefully it hits. You know, it's good luck.
I've just been looking at it or trying to look at it more like, I mean, I enjoy making a few bucks here and there when I do. Like, it's nice. I made, $1,000 off a video over the summer, and I was pretty happy with that. But it's like a creative outlet for me. I do so much work stuff all the time that I can just like yell about 5-minute crafts and bananas and stuff and be goofy on TikTok. And if it does well, it does well. And
Yeah.
but it's a great for my book and for the other stuff I do, it's a great like marketing tool. It's a great
100%.
I would do it if it wasn't monetized. I would still do it.
So.
Oh yeah,
I would do it definitely for the funnel side of things for as far as outreach.
Because I mean,
Absolutely.
when
No,
we all started doing it before we were making any money doing it. Like we did. Like I do it. I live in a small town. Like I don't have a lot of people who are interested in what I'm doing. To have like people like who are like super interested in what I'm doing and like find value in what I'm doing. Like that's cool. Why I do what I do. Knowing that I can monetize it certainly pushes me to put more effort into it and to make better quality content. Like when I first started, like when I look back 2 years ago on the stuff I was making, it's like I cringe at like how bad it was. Just like everything about
dude.
So
you guys are way ahead of me, and I look back at my first videos, and I'm like, it's only 2 years ago, and I'm like, oh wow.
Well,
but I mean, if I
so
would take a video that I made now compared to a video I made this time 2 years ago, it was, I mean, it just a night and day difference in the quality and everything. And I was just like just out there, like I was just talking to myself, like, and it just boring. But people watched it,
yeah. I'll tell you what my strategy was in 2024. In January, I started off, I was like, okay, I've got a ton of older gardening videos that I know did really well. They're well put together, and maybe I didn't put them out the right time of year. And so starting like January 1st, I started putting out like 2 to 3 reels a day. Not only just reels, but Facebook videos. And you can post a reel as a Facebook video. And I was just pumping them out to kind of like prime the pump for like the algorithm. And I started like January 1st. And like I'll even post a reel like a month later that didn't do as well, and I'll see it do better like a month later because people who follow me now aren't scrolling down that far to see that
Right.
older video. So you may be posting a video that no one saw before, and then that blows up. You know, so don't feel bad.
Are you keeping these saved to repost later, or are you downloading them and removing watermarks, or how are you doing that?
I always keep my stuff. I have an Apple Cloud, like 2 terabytes.
So you keep the original video.
Yeah.
See, I don't keep anything.
Correct.
I post it and I delete everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, even my garbage vlogs, I've got like a couple terabyte hard drives. I keep all my footage because you just never know. You just never know. Like this is one of the dumbest things. I had a video and I was wearing a Carhartt hat and a Carhartt vest, and it didn't do well. And then like there was like a Carhartt factory strike a couple of years ago, and something happened. And I reposted the video while I was wearing it, and the video blew up because I was wearing a Carhartt beanie and a Carhartt jacket. Just because of that, because of all the negative comments on that. It was hilarious, dude. So like I never throw any footage away, but I will go back and I'll see like, oh, I posted that video and what I said was wrong. I won't repost my old fake news like I didn't know then. Like when I go back 2 or 3 years, like Phil was saying, I see videos are like, what was I thinking? Like, what was I saying? Like, why would I say this back then? It's so weird going back in time. And it's so weird. Like when we're like 50, 60, 70 years old, we're going to look back and like, we said that back then. And like it's going to be so weird, man. Like think about these guys like Justin Rhodes and all these guys like these homesteaders are putting out so much content. People will be watching their videos like 20, 30, 40 years from now and be like, what were they talking about? Like, this is so crazy. And it's happening for me like 2 or 3 years down the road, and it's like, wow, I can't believe.
Why didn't they just put those copper wires in the ground in their garden?
Dude, I pray to God that I'm wrong. Pray to God that I'm wrong about electroculture.
But on that, I do have to bounce, guys.
Go ahead, bro.
Check in with the family. But thank you, guys.
Yep, everybody's got to roll. So, real quick, Phil, let everybody know where they can find you.
You can find me on all the things that say Phil's Figs on the internet and the social medias.
Mr.
And reach
Vikram.
out.
I am the Plant Prof, all the places, or you can find my podcast, Planthropology, just anthropology, but make it a pun about plants, and you're good to go.
Absolutely. And Jeremy, one more time, where can they find you, dude?
30 Plant Gardening. I got tons of merch. Anybody wants to buy merch?
Dude, I'm getting some koozies.
Yeah, I need to buy some merch.
I got all kinds of stuff.
Thank y'all so much for watching. I'm Texas Garden Guy. We will do this. If y'all enjoy this Saturday Night Live, we will do this more often. Just let me know in the comment section, and I'll see y'all next Thursday.
We got to do it in the summer from the gardens.
Yes.
Oh.
No, it's too loud in my garden. I can't do it. I don't want all the background noise.